start our Board of Education meeting this evening, I would like to take a moment for everyone to honor and remember the life of Cheyenne Rashad, who was tragically killed in a car accident last week. So if we could just take a moment to remember her, we would appreciate it. Thank you. And if we could remember to keep her family, her friends, classmates, and the staff here at Richmond High School in our thoughts and prayers in the coming weeks, because they're going to need it. I'd like to call our regular Board of Education meeting to order at 7:01. We could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Fortuna, our mission statement and roll call.
At Richmond Community Schools, we provide quality education that empowers students to be successful in the global community. Board Member Cunningham? Here. Board Member Michon is absent with notice. Board Member Sutton? Here. Board Member Fortuna, I am here. Board Member Steyer? Here. Board Member Telto?
Here.
Board Member Gillis?
Here.
We have a quorum, and we also have our student representatives both here tonight with us, Joseph Pacito and Elizabeth Schaefer.
Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda. Before I get a motion, we're going to take item G, move it up to be item D, and then move the rest of those down. So I would looking for a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Mr. Walmsley?
The personnel report outlining the latest resignations and retirements, as well as any new hires, are also listed in the personnel report. There were no questions regarding the March 10th meeting minutes. In the packet is the February 24th revised meeting minutes that were tabled at the last board meeting, as well as the district head count equivalent report and the claims and accounts for the month of March.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on our agenda, we are excited tonight to be able to recognize two of our student athletes who are powerlifting state champions. And at this time, Mr. Trent, there he is, okay. If you would come up, and at the board, and guys, we're going to stand up here.
So I have the honor today of introducing two of our powerlifting state champions, our first two varsity powerlifting state champions to our Board of Education. And Coach Babb is here, and we'll talk more about the program and some of the kind of looking back after a year or two, and he'll speak more about our other state qualifiers and whatnot. So I'd like to recognize our first state champion, Leah DeMambro. Leah was state champ in the 105-pound weight class, and her total for her deadlift, squat, and bench at the state tournament was 585 pounds total. So for those of you that are about as good at math as me, that's like a 5-to-1 ratio. So congratulations, Leah. And our other state champion is Brody Mayer. Brody was state champion. In the super heavyweight division, Brody's total at the state meet was 1,580 pounds for bench, squat, and deadlift. So congratulations, Brody. And I know Coach Babel will talk more about it in the next part, but I had the opportunity to go and watch the past 2 state meets and really get to watching these athletes perform in front of a lot of people. If you haven't gone, it's really impressive, so I'd encourage you to go. So, thank you.
Okay, next we're going to talk about our powerlifting program. Mr. Baba, if you want to join Mr. Trent, please.
Sure. All right, exciting stuff. As you can see, 2 state champions. First year, we had almost a couple state champions, but first off, I'd like to thank the Board of Education for allowing us to have a powerlifting program. Thank you, Mr. Walmsley, Mr. Trent, for pushing this. I'd like to also thank all my powerlifters that showed in support. They're all here showing their medals, their hardware in the last few years. We got very proud. And I know she's not here, but Megan Schultz, I really want to thank her for really pushing powerlifting here at Richmond and coming to me and asking me, which I have a passion for powerlifting, for lifting, health and fitness, and I'm very honored to be here as the powerlifting coach. So with that, looking back to 2024 season, 2024, we had a total of 45 athletes. 2025, we have 60, if not more. So we've really increased our numbers, which is great. I think we had 25 boys total and almost over 30 girls total. So it's exploding. In 2024, we had 15 athletes, whether they were JV or varsity, qualified for states. 9 finished in the top 10. Last year, Logan Evans was our state champion at the JV level. So that was very impressive. And the weight that Logan lifted at the JV level would qualify in the top, at least the top 5 at the varsity level last year. And he was a top 2 this year. He almost was a state champion himself this year. So I just wanted to shout out his name because he was very close. And then our JV girls team came in 2nd overall in state. And what you have to understand is powerlifting is not divided into divisions. You're competing against Class A schools with 500-600 kids in their class, such as Troy Athens. Troy Athens is one of the, I think they're 4 state champions right now, and we're at their heels in our 2nd year. I've had their varsity coach email me and say, hey, are you going to be at this power meet? Hey, are you going to be at this power meet? And so that's telling our power lifters that we're doing great things here. So they put in the hard work as far as getting in 5:30 a.m. lifts, 4:30 lifts, and so we're doing great things. This year, we had 26 athletes at the JV level and the varsity level qualified for states. 26. Last year we had 15. So we're increasing 6 students or student athletes. They missed out just barely. So there was a cutoff, and 6 of our athletes just missed. So we could have had 32 athletes at states. So it's crazy. 11 of our girls finished in the top 10, and of course, we had 2 state champions, and then we ended up getting second behind Troy Athens again at the varsity level. So we were runner-up again in our second year for state championship. So our program is rising. We're going to miss, 3 of our seniors that were at state. Brooklyn Jones back there, yes, we will miss you. She gained a lot of points for us in her lifts. But the rest of these girls here are either sophomores or juniors, so we have at least 1 or 2 more years. And they were all part of the state runner-up championship team. So I'm very excited. I see bright things coming ahead of us, and that's all I got.
And just kind of my things, now a year or two, kind of looking back on this from where we were 2 years ago, kind of putting this together. A lot of my hesitation with bringing on another sport was, is this going to be a net benefit for the athletic department? I think the results had certainly been a net positive for our athletic programs. But my biggest hesitation was I'd seen other powerlifting programs at other schools or outside of school, and I was worried about powerlifting becoming its own thing. And it was, my impression was they lift a couple times, they eat a bunch of beef jerky, and then they lift maybe 1 or 2 more times. Coach Babbitt talks about those number of athletes he has come through in the morning and the afternoon. It sounds like a lot of kids, but if you ever walk by the gym or the weight room when they're going, it's phenomenal how well it's organized. You've got all the kids know exactly what they're doing. They're in their spots. My biggest thing is I see a lot of things that I wanted to do as a coach, strength and conditioning wise, that they're doing. So it's not just the back squat, the bench, and the deadlift. It's a lot of the explosive movements, a lot of the accessory lifts they do are good, just overall athlete movements. They do a lot of cardio and metabolic conditioning. So I see a lot of these skills that they're using in powerlifting transitioning into those other sports. And that was the biggest thing for me pulling out of it, is going, okay, this is not only great on its own, but it's also feeding a lot of our other programs. So I commend Coach Baba on that, because I think we are going to start seeing a lot of those results in those other sports for it. So, thank you.
I just want to add, on behalf of the board, this, what Coach Baba said, it started out with student Megan Schultz, who wanted to start powerlifting, and she was very brave to put a plan together, meet with the superintendent, and then come and present in front of the Board of Education to have this program. And I just love the fact that that little idea came, and this program is just blooming, blossoming, whatever is the right term. All the kids that are involved, you work really hard. Good for you. I'm glad that we were able to have this program happen, and I have come a couple times. It is really fun to watch. So thank you, Coach Baba, for taking this on and making this program what it is. And you guys, Brody and Leah, you've set the tone, the very first people to win the state championship. So I'm assuming we'll see you again next year up here when we recognize you. Leah, are you a junior? We'll see you the next 2 years then. But, and the rest of you, we look forward to seeing you too. But great job and keep up the good work. Next, another exciting thing that happens at Richmond is our mock trial team. And so we have Dr. Ladd here and some of his members from his team to give us an update on their competition.
The last time I was here, sing the praises of the mock trial team that won the regional championship and went on to the state meet. And we just wanted to come back and say thank you so much for all your support. Couldn't have gone, couldn't have done everything without it. It was a great time. And then I wanted the kids to basically give you a little bit about what happened out there at the meet.
Hi guys, my name is Joseph Pacito, just, for the record. I've been doing mock trial for 3 years. I didn't do it my freshman year because I didn't think I had time. My sophomore year I came around just as a timekeeper. And then just last year I then took on a stronger role of being a lawyer. And then having one last opportunity to do it this year, it's truly a phenomenal experience, and we cannot thank you enough for allowing us to do something like this. It really enlightens the mind, mental activities like this, and it was just a fantastic experience. Wonderful people, a wonderfully ran organization. Regardless on what happened there and how things went, it was just, you were always around nice people, and those nice people it was the future of law in Michigan. And as somebody who now wants to pursue that as my career and major in political science and eventually get my JD, it truly is a wonderful and enlightening experience, and I really appreciate you guys for allowing us to go. It was just phenomenal. I knew what I wanted to do kind of pretty early on in life, but man, has this solidified it. And I can't thank our coaches enough. Dr. Ladd and Tom McGovern, he's couldn't be here tonight, but he's also a huge help to our entire team, and I can't thank them enough along with you guys. I really appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Brandon Lauderman. I've been doing mock trial for 3 years, been a lawyer all 3 years, 4-time prosecutor, 4-time defense attorney. I once again, just like Joe said, like to thank you all for giving us this amazing opportunity. Beyond the experience, I can tell you how we personally did. We are the second ever Richmond team to go to the state competition, the first ever Richmond team to get first in our region, and the first ever Richmond team to go into the semifinals. We won our first round, we won our second round, we won the second.
Good job.
Thank you. And without all of you, that would not be possible. This program has inspired me to pursue law. Unlike Joe, I did not know I wanted to be a lawyer for most of my life. I thought I'd mess with computers, honestly. But this program has inspired me, and especially this year has inspired me to pursue a degree in political science and eventually a Juris Doctorate. And once again, without all of you giving us this opportunity to go to the state competition, that would not have happened. So, thank you.
Hello, members of the board. I am Jacob Pacito, and this experience at the state competition for the mock trial was absolutely phenomenal. I cannot thank you enough for the experience that this has been. Personally, as we are kind of on the line of talking about careers, I plan to pursue more of a musical performance career, and surprisingly, doing a club and an activity about law definitely helps in that aspect, because when you get up there on the stand in the courtroom in front of practiced lawyers and your peers, and you have to explain why your point of view is correct, it really is in itself a performative experience, and it really gives you a chance to show the knowledge that you've been working on this whole time. It's almost as if it were, say, a recital. So having this opportunity to not only in our district competition demonstrate our knowledge, but then be able to go farther to the state competition for the second time in Richmond history, thanks to you wonderful board members. It was absolutely a unforgettable experience. Throughout all of the sporting events and club competitions I've been in my whole life, I believe the state mock trial competition has got to be my favorite competition to have competed in, because it's just a perfect combination of academics and performance, because you're demonstrating something that you've been working on and you've been learning for 3 months at least for each season. I mean, let alone returning members. We've been working on this for years now. I'm a third-year member of the mock trial team, and never before have we gotten this far in the tournament. And the fact that I can know that this was because of the hard work of myself and my teammates, and through the dedication and help and patience of our amazing coaching staff. It's just a phenomenal, it's an experience that you can't get in any other club. And that's why I believe it was a phenomenal and unforgettable experience. And I cannot thank you enough for allowing us to go.
So Joe, Jacob, and Braden have said a lot of what I was going to say, but my name is Brandon Procopio, and I would like to thank the Board of Education a lot for this program. I had an amazing experience at States. It's my first year ever doing mock trial, and being a part of this amazing team is just an unforgettable experience. Lots was learned, and I really appreciate the Board of Education for the opportunities that we've gotten through the mock trial experience.
So once again, thank you very much, and this is the hardware they brought home. It'll be displayed up the front with our other We the People trophies and so forth, showing the academic excellence of Richmond High School. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Well done. And Dr. Ladd, as always, your leadership is fabulous. Thank you for what you do. Okay, going to move on to item D, the proposed overnight extended trip for the wrestling program. Coach Berg.
Hello, Brett Berg. I'd like to thank you guys for having me here. I am here to propose 2 overnights for 2 summer camps for that. I plan on taking the Richmond varsity and junior varsity team. The first trip is to Urbana, Ohio, which we've gone to the Jeff Jordan State Champ Camp for 20 plus years, and it's an amazing experience for the boys and when we have girls on the team. It's an experience. It's a great experience for them. They get to learn from college coaches. They get to learn from a multiple-time All-American who's won a ton of state titles in his own right, and it's always been a great experience. We would be leaving June 15th, staying the night at the facility. It's actually on Jeff Jordan's property, but he's been doing this for 20 plus years. We stay the night there, the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and then we come home on the 19th, which we leave on a Sunday and then we come home on a Thursday. Transportation, that's all taken care of by me, and if I need more coaches, it'd be either me or Coach Misko or my brother, Coach Nick, who's the middle school coach. The second proposed overnight is the Hudson camp. We've done this camp in the past, and I don't know why we stopped going to it, but this season I talked to the Hudson head coach, Scott Mary, and I asked if we could come back, and he said he'd give me all the information. So that is July 17th and 18th, so we just stay on the 17th. Again, transportation's all going to be between me and my coaching staff.
Any questions?
About how many wrestlers do you take on each of these trips?
Roughly anywhere between 10 to 20 of them, as many as I can get there.
Yeah.
And on the 17th and 18th, just a one overnight?
It's just the one night. Yep.
And where is that at? Is that
It's
also
in Hudson, Michigan.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
We will vote on this in 2 weeks, and we will let you know. But
Awesome.
good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next item, our 2025 Macomb County Literacy Ambassador.
I don't think, it doesn't look like Ms. McMooney was able to make it tonight. She was taking care of a personal matter and she wasn't sure if she would make it back in time, so I take it she was not able to, unfortunately. But we still wanted to take the time to honor her as our Richmond Literacy Ambassador. So all of the school districts in Macomb County have the opportunity to nominate a Literacy Ambassador for the school year. I'm not sure how long Macomb County ISD has been doing this, but definitely for several years, so we're excited that she is our ambassador for this year. So in that role, the ISD kind of invites all of the ambassadors that are selected, and they get to kind of have a special day out at the ISD, a photo shoot, as they do make posters that they'll send back. We'll get several of those to hang around the district, and then they go out around the county in different places that the ISD is promoting reading. So she would always be kind of recognized as Richmond's person for this year, ambassador. It was an application process, so we had a small leadership committee that had a few folks selected, and ultimately hers was the winning nomination from the ISD. So this is just kind of this is one of their promotional pieces that they put together and provided to us from the ISD. So just kind of the little look there for literacy ambassadorship. But we definitely wanted to just again recognize her for this honor and let everyone know that she will be our ambassador for this year.
Thank you. Any questions? So the reading carnival, that happens in November, correct?
It does, so she would be invited to be a part of that.
Okay, that was my
and I
question.
believe there are 2 additional events at the ISD that she'll be invited to be a part of as our representative. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Next, coaching for impact, strengthening instruction through collaboration.
And I have the pleasure of introducing our 2 instructional coaches, Jessica Schlageber and Adriana Bretman. I'm lucky enough to get to work with these 2 ladies pretty closely. They are kind of an extension of the curriculum office, as it is difficult for me to be everywhere all at the same time, but they really are able to keep me up to date on kind of the pulse of what's going on in the building as they are in teachers' classrooms throughout the day, working very closely from really all as many things you can think of. They are probably supporting it in some way, whether it's getting teachers up to speed, the newest curriculums that we are implementing and making sure new teachers are aware of that curriculum, to supporting new teachers in any areas that they may need support with as they're coming on board. They even offer IT support for, again, those very specific curriculum resources, and they're very involved in data and planning sessions, so you'll see that through their presentation, a lot of data focus as well. So I'm going to turn it over to these 2 and let them kind of explain what they've been busy with this year.
Hello, board. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and share what we do as instructional coaches here in Richmond schools. If you're not familiar with what an instructional coach is or what their role is in the district, my job here today hopefully will help kind of give you some of that information. And of course, if you have questions at the end, feel free to ask. Let me see if I can get this in work. Perfect. All right, so there's a lovely pictures that you have there. Right, so Jessica has been a coach here since 2022, so this is her 3rd year, and my first year here as an instructional coach, so I think we've been doing pretty well working together as a pair this year, being able to support even more teachers and give that individual support as well as group in the common planning times that we'll talk about. So we've been doing that, and we've both been in education for about the same amount of time, so about 15 years of experience of teaching before we went into this type of a role. Just the kind of the basic definition of what an instructional coach is someone that is providing instructional coach in a personalized but very important non-evaluative setting. We definitely want our teachers to understand that we are not there as evaluators. We are there to support and help and guide and facilitate and collaborate in any way we can to make sure that they understand we can build that relationship with them. It's very important as coaches to build a relationship with the teachers so they feel more comfortable even in asking when they are needing that support that they would reach out to us. So we are working with them, and we hope to improve classroom practices and student learning outcomes. Ultimately, that is our ultimate goal. The ultimate goal, again, is the primary goal of instructional coaching is to enhance teaching strategies, which we do in many different ways, increase teacher efficacy, which we have worked with our teachers in group kind of planning in all the buildings, and ultimately boost student achievement, which we're going to get into a little bit more of the details. So our coaches, or what we do here in our district, are kind of supporting our teachers with three main things: supporting our teachers in integrating research-based practices, differentiate instruction, and even help to adapt some of the learning needs for our diverse learners. We also actually did professional development, which we can bring back to our teachers and support them, but continue the professional development with our instructional staff here in all three buildings for K-12, and then of course collaborating with all of our teachers in group settings or even in individual with coaching cycles.
Okay. We are proud to report that 100% of teachers across all three buildings have access support from an instructional coach at some point this school year. This is a sign of a growing culture of collaboration, trust, and professional growth. We love partnering with teachers and we are shifting towards a unified, growth-focused culture, which is definitely something to celebrate here. Our coaching menu, which I do have, I wanted to share a copy of the menu that we send out at the beginning of the school year, and then we leave it in the teacher lounges, so if something comes up, teachers are pretty comfortable now just emailing, calling, even texting now if they need something on demand. So our instructional coaching model is centered around individualized teacher support. Our goal is to enhance instructional quality and ultimately improve student achievement through strategic support. So if you look at the menu there, our key areas, it's very similar. We've kept it the same through the past 3 years. Curriculum support, lesson planning, co-teaching, modeling, and data analysis. And then specifically, as district-wide instructional coaches, our roles have been centered around new teacher onboarding and supporting all K-12 teachers while enhancing instructional practices in all three buildings. This year, we have implemented a new math and ELA curriculum for all students K through 12th grade. Our work has been focused on ensuring a smooth transition and ongoing support to support the staff as much as we possibly can. One key initiative has been leading professional development sessions that align with the rollout of the new curriculum resources. These PDs are strategically embedded throughout the school year, offering timely and relevant learning opportunities that meet the teacher's needs. Additionally, we have 6 to 10 week onboarding cycles for new teachers. This ensures they are equipped with the tools, instructional strategies, and district expectations they need to thrive. This provides consistent support and mentoring as they begin their teaching journey here in Richmond. A major focus this year has also been on fostering common planning time across all three buildings. This initiative provides teachers with structured opportunities to collaborate, align instruction, and develop cohesive lesson plans. We have also prioritized vertical collaboration, bringing together educators across all the grade levels and content areas to share best instructional practices, discuss pacing guides, create common formative and summative assessments, create rubrics, and exchange resources. Overall, our goal is to build teacher capacity, support instructional growth, and contribute to a culture of continuous improvement across the district. And then here is kind of a snapshot. If you have any questions specifically about any of them, but this is all the exciting new initiatives. I know math we piloted last year and rolled out at the middle school and high school, but this year as a district, it's been new math and new ELA through SAVIS, K-12, and it's going really well. I had written down here that it really shows our commitment to innovate and continue growing and advancing, because the technology and just the rigor within the curriculum is phenomenal. So the students sometimes are struggling, but it's good to see that because they're growing. So there's Kagan, Accelerated Reader, which Accelerated Reader is the program we use, Duck Days, if you've heard of Duck Days. My Perspectives, My View, IXL. reflex math for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and then we have Envisions and then Clever. And then this one here, our new hire trends. So as you see in the graph, the number of new teachers hired in our district has steadily increased. This growth highlights the continued importance of strong onboarding and mentoring efforts to ensure we retain the exceptional educators joining our team. Last school year, we have welcomed approximately 31 new teachers to the district, which equates to 31% of our teaching staff. Last year, there were 99 teachers. Our support doesn't end at hiring. We continue to provide ongoing check-ins and support for new teachers in their first 1 to 3 years at Richmond or as needed. And one highlight is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Teachers don't have to work with us. They come to us. So that's been really exciting. My first year, that challenge was just relationship building. So that was my focus. So in 3 years, we've come so far. So I just can't wait to see what the future holds. So I'm really excited about that. And then we have feedback.
So we did reach out to some teachers that we've worked with and some administrators, and because obviously we have a relationship with our administrators that they'll either ask us to kind of work with maybe a teacher or they've seen what we've done in their buildings. So we do have some information from a couple of our administrators. Ms. Zabel from the high school, the principal, she said something about how coaches actively participate in common planning meetings, which she does about every other week, and focuses collaborative efforts on strategies to boost student achievement on state assessments. Obviously, she had a lot of good positive things as well to say that I won't read that to you now, but it's there. Ms. Borwick, the assistant or the dean of students here at the high school, she stated Mrs. Schlegelberg and Mrs. Retman are always willing to go above and beyond to support our students, staff, and overall school culture. So we have those two from the high school, and then we do have quite a few teachers that have provided some good feedback, and I'll kind of highlight a couple of things that they've said. One of our newest teachers that is actually brand new to the teaching profession is a math teacher here at the high school, Mr. Canfield, and he stated that the instructional coaches helped him to adjust to the rhythm of the classroom. Being new to the classroom, that's something that he really was appreciative of and knowing and getting assistance with. Marie Konwinski, a kindergarten teacher, said, the support and collaboration has given me fresh perspectives, practical strategies, and a space to reflect and grow, which again kind of speaks to that relationship piece that Ms. Schlegelberg and I really work with our teachers to also, so they can feel that comfortable and they can really grow from the work that they do. Renee Bacon, she's the new middle school science teacher to Richmond, not new to this program or teaching, but she was appreciative when I was able to work with her and answer the more in-depth questions that she had about just specific grading or curriculum and expectations that was at the building that maybe something she didn't get a chance to talk with someone about yet. Mr. Hill, a high school science teacher, said, having a coach this year has alleviated a lot of stress. So we were able to work with him on some things. Mrs. Hayes, a kindergarten teacher, said Mrs. Schlegelberg worked directly with the students during centers and provided support for their personal narratives. So even sometimes we work directly with students when we are coaching and modeling and working with teachers. So that is a great also opportunity that we have to work with our students directly. Amy Zizelman, a second grade teacher, the support you provide in SAVIS, Reflex, and IXL has helped us to implement a new curriculum and to use those more consistently in the classroom. Mrs. George, a first grade teacher, said having Jessica come in to observe and discuss the best ways to teach, just giving sometimes just another set of ears and eyes and strategies to just kind of think of new ways to think of how to reach our students. And Chef Bishop here at the high school, the culinary program, said Jessica has helped to bridge the gap between industry pivoting into education, which is a huge accomplishment with what she's been able to work with Chef, coming from directly from the industry. Right into education is not an easy feat. And so she was able to really help her, especially this year, kind of get her feet under her and be able to get the teaching and really make the program grow. So we thank you for your time and support today and kind of letting us explain some things. And didn't know if you had any questions about coaching and kind of what we do or any specific things.
Any questions?
I'll have some, I'm sure, because this is like a brand new thing to me. So I don't know what I don't know yet, and it was a lot of information that you guys put out. So I'm just kind of taking a look at your sheet and trying to figure out, for the co-teaching and observing, an extra set of eyes. When I hear that, I think teacher assistant, somebody else in the classroom that can maybe see something that like a teacher because we all have blind spots in certain areas. And so I guess I'm just looking at more.
So I can answer that. So this year with the modeling, it's really, I would say for the math and ELA, the modeling has been a game changer for some teachers just because it's brand new. So what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll plan together. And it depends. Sometimes the teacher will want me to model the lesson, and maybe she'll see something like Kagan structures are big here. So cooperative learning versus just having the teacher stand up at the board, little things like that. So it's really individualized, if you will. So what we'll do is we'll meet first. Do you want to see me teach a lesson, or I can see you teach a lesson, or we'll meet on Tuesdays and it'll get to that point. But it actually does not happen often. I haven't really started modeling and co-teaching with teachers until this year.
And when you're talking co-teaching though, I don't
Oh
think
yes,
it's the way
it's not
he's,
like,
I think you're thinking two people like that. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, because it says,
But
are
that's not what
available
this
to
is.
co-teach, and then be a second set of eyes to observe. And so I'm
Yes.
thinking, so there's two
No,
people.
no,
yeah, no. Maybe we maybe need to change that wording on there because we actually have co-teaching happening now in the district.
Right, so
So,
that's where I'm a
yeah.
little confused on
Yeah.
what exactly that looks
So
like.
it's really just a learning opportunity. So it's just what do you notice, what did you like? We
It's
ask each other
assistive.
questions. Yes, it's just really opening your eyes to something you might not see or making a suggestion just to modify engagement, enhance the lesson in some way, something small.
I think especially with the new curriculum, so these guys have, more opportunity to engage with our trainers, which we have been really lucky this year to have all of the Sabbath trainers still very available to us with the new curriculum. And so if a teacher says, I'm really having trouble getting to the group work of the lesson. Every time we get to that, I run out of time or the kids don't engage. And so, one of the coaches is able to reach out to the trainer and get some ideas, and then again, they can bring that back to them and say, okay, I had a chance to troubleshoot this for you. You as a classroom teacher don't always have that time available to you. I did the heavy lifting for you. Now let me show you what they shared. Again, you can come into the classroom, try it with them, demonstrate it for them if there's, that opportunity.
So kind of looking at the lesson plan and then with a different set of eyes based off of what they're coming to you saying, hey, I'm having these issues.
Right.
You're like, all right, well, let me take a look. And then maybe, identifying that and then proposing that to them for,
I
okay.
think I have a good example. So in kindergarten with the writing, so the literacy centers that were taking place in the classroom. So I was working with the students, but it was a modeling effort, and it was also getting those students into the routine of going, 20 minutes, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to work on writing, and at this writing center, this is what you're doing. So in my mind, that is what we call the co-teaching and modeling. And then we'll talk after. So how did it go? And then we're kind of listening to each other, but doing a little bit different, and then modifying just to make it the best we possibly can.
Okay.
And
Okay.
a
Does
lot
that
of,
help?
Yeah, that helps.
and a lot of it is the math and the ELA is new.
Yes.
So it's just being rolled out too.
Sure,
So
right.
There's
Yeah, that's-
that of the help.
But obviously, I know they know their math, they know their ELA content, but the math and the resource is different. So they might struggle with, what do I do for this instead? So, we are there. But one thing I do work with our teachers on is even how to engage students in a discussion. So like for when sometimes if I'm modeling in a classroom sometimes, I might just show them a way to get kids to kind of engage without just shutting down and saying yes or no. So I'll ask them and show them how to kind of have a conversation or discussion technique. Those are just small instructional strategies that maybe as an experienced teacher I've developed and grown, but new teachers might not have developed those yet. So that's another way we can come in and show them those, and it might just be a small 10-minute time that I'm in there, then we can talk about that later and see
Sure.
what did what can you maybe take from that, and maybe what might work for you. Because obviously every teacher is going to be different, and we give them that autonomy, but there are some instructional strategies that are definitely going to be helpful in engaging students in those discussion and question techniques.
I just want to say thank you, because for me, it's comforting to know with the new curriculum and how it goes from K to 12, and when one grade ends and the next one picks up, you guys are kind of that buffer and I guess, communication between the two grades of where to start off versus where are you kind of in doing a little bit of that too?
Yes, we're actually, that is our plan coming up on Monday, actually. That's the professional development we have planned for Monday. So vertical alignment, the teachers will get together. I don't have the schedule just yet, but yes, that is the plan.
But yeah, very true though, because like I said, even introducing them, they have the opportunity to be in every building at different times. They are working with K-12 teachers throughout the day, throughout the week, so they have a very unique vantage point of exactly what you just said. You know, where is this stronger? Where does this need work? How does this bridge?
Right.
And like we said, now we're able to take that information and build it into the PDA on next week.
Which is the exciting part of this new curriculum, right?
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have one if you don't mind. How frequently do you guys work with staff members, like on average type of thing?
It depends on, I guess, what capacity, whether we're in their classroom, whether we're meeting with them one-on-one about some planning, lesson planning. I do meet with the teacher right now currently twice a week. We have a set up time where I meet with them, we kind of go through lesson plans for the week, just because, again, still a new teacher to the format and strategy, so we kind of make sure that things are moving in the classroom and their students are learning the outcomes that should be, so just kind of supporting where I can. So I know that you also do something similar with a teacher, but maybe once a week. So those are set in also. And we used to work with teachers at the middle school, even more so last quarter.
So I love the common planning that we have going. So I know that we talked about every other week at the high school. It's weekly at the elementary school on Tuesdays. So that really allows the whole grade levels. I go on Tuesdays, I'm at Lee. I'm with every single teacher through the day. What are your needs? How can I support you? It's been amazing. And the same thing here at the high school and the middle school too. So that keeps us busy. So I mean, yeah, but I love it. So it is good, and just sharing, even just reflex math. Like our third grade teachers used it last year, so they had charts and just, I call them little cheat sheets that I could take from their classrooms, and then I shared them with fourth and fifth grade teachers. So just little things like that are little, but they're so big and they make such a difference. So yeah.
And that's just at the request of the teacher saying, hey?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hey Jess, do you have anything? It's been good. So I do think the relationship it's there, admin, teachers, coaches, everybody. So it's a really good place to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That answered my follow-up question as well, like how you guys manage it with how many staff members we have. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.
Still figuring it out. Changing it is
Well,
often
yeah, I
I need
totally-
to, but yeah, it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. It is a testament, Ms. Schlehuber, to you both, the work you're doing, how it's grown, and the collaboration that has really, really come together. It's because of the work you've done to get it to happen, truly, from when we started. So thank you for that. Yes, both of you. All right. Thank you. Okay, next, our summer school and academic athletic summer camps.
This over again.
So I'll just preface this while Billy's pulling this up. In the past couple of years, we've been able to run pretty extensive summer camp programs through grant dollars. As those grant dollars are not renewed and are kind of being exhausted. So what you have here is kind of a hybrid approach of what a traditional summer school might look like, where parents might pay something versus something that's covered. Still kind of building the framework that we intended from the last 2 years and carrying it forward. So I'll turn it over to you.
And even kind of to piggyback on that, and I'll get into our presentation, but I was at a grants meeting for the county last Friday, and two of the districts there, just as we were kind of talking about different things, how are we managing with the grants drying up at this point, and two districts had already decided the first thing on their chopping block was summer school completely. So I think even though, you know, you will see definitely a decrease in what we're able to offer, knowing that there are other districts, sizable districts that, I mean, they just said that there's nothing there, they totally gone. So, you know, I think we have to kind of keep that in mind, even though it is definitely not the same as we've seen before. So we are still able to offer programming that could serve up to 342 students if we maxed out each of those classes that would be offered. We'll have 9 different academic camps. These are still the MISD kind of created programs, the same that we've offered in past years. So we have 9 different choices this year. We will also continue to be able to offer 10 unique enrichment camps. And to fill and run these camps, we would be looking to hire up to 20 teachers and 17 teacher cadets potentially. The frame of the program is a little shorter. It is only a 2-week window this year, so it's running June 16th to 27th. So it's Monday through Friday each of those 2 weeks, so a 10-day program for academics. So as Brian mentioned, we are kind of pulling together those last bits of money that we can from here and there. So the 3 grants that we're able to use this year to cover our academic courses is the 35A, 23J, and 41A grants. And so the academic courses will run in the mornings during those 2 weeks from 8 to 11 a.m. Students will still receive free transportation, breakfast, and lunch if they're part of the academic program. And the target size for those classes is about 15 to 18. Again, that's based on the design from the ISD to make sure that the students are really able to get the most out of those classes and have it be an enhancement for their learning. So a quick description of the 9 different academic camps. So there's Kinder Connect and First Grade Fundamentals, kind of the same concept, but one for incoming kindergartners and one for incoming first graders. Really just kind of meant to get them sort of engaged with school, ready to learn. They get little back to school kits or summer learning kits that go home with them so they can keep that learning going throughout the summer, even after the program ends. A lot of reading activities together with the teacher. So definitely a literacy focused program there for the kindergarten and first grade fundamentals and Connect. The Summer Scholars Literacy and Math is a program that is available for students in 2nd through 5th grade. This one is a little bit more specific in that it's intervention based in nature, if you will. So it's really for targeted students that might be struggling with their literacy or math skills. It's not meant to be just kind of, hey, anybody would take this, you just want to kind of keep going in the summer. It's really going to kind of meet them at that lower level that they might be at. And so we will actually be targeting specific students that we would first invite to this particular class. There's several sections open, and there's still seats available. After that, we would certainly be willing to open up to others, but we want to make sure that our struggling students have an opportunity to get that little bump in the summer and get them ready for next school year if at all possible. And again, that's what the design of this class is. There's also a STEAM literacy camp. That one is designed for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade students. So that one would be, again, students with that interest in science-based activities. It brings in vocabulary, critical thinking skills, scientific inquiry. So they kind of do a variety of little investigations throughout the couple of weeks related around STEM. Or STEAM. There's also a math mindset class. This one is kind of deep in the brain research behind the math kind of thinking that students get into, and oftentimes we hear students say like, oh, I'm just no good at math, like, oh, that's just not me, I can't do numbers. And so it's really kind of designed to sort of stop that way of thinking and let students realize like, oh, anyone can be a math thinker, and helping students to be more open to it in a more creative and visual way. So kind of getting outside of those traditional molds of math. And then there is the middle school readers and writers program for students in 5th through 8th grade. And in this program, students are provided daily opportunities to engage with reading and writing. They can keep a writer's notebook, and then they work towards kind of an individual writing goals that they set for themselves and have kind of a little bit of a small performance for their class at the end. I believe they do offer for the parents to come in for that event, if I'm not mistaken, as well. The last couple of academic courses, we do have an opportunity. This one is through specifically the 41A grant, which is for bilingual learners or English language learners. And so we do have an option for lower grades and the upper grades in elementary and middle school to be part of a language learning opportunity where they would engage with a number of different resources to continue to increase their English proficiency over the summer. And for our high school students, we again will offer credit recovery. This one's kind of a hybrid setting, and this one actually does go outside the bounds of those 2 weeks because it does have that virtual piece to it. They actually have until, I believe it's August 8th, to complete the credits that they'll start at the beginning of the summer. And so that teacher will be set up in kind of, again, a split model where there will be set check-in points, kind of office hour type settings. They would have to come in to take their assessments in the class. So they would all be aware of that schedule with the actual in-person part of it, but they would continue to be able to work at home because it is a virtual program and the teacher would monitor that remotely as well.
Can I ask?
Absolutely, yeah, we can pause there before we
On
go
that-
to enrichment.
On that credit recovery, so is it going to be put out, any high school kid that needs that will get notice that we're having this? And
Yep, you got it.
okay, all right.
Absolutely,
And the, for the bilingual learners there, it says K 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6,
So there's
7.
2 sections. So there's so we won't have the kindergartners in the same classroom as the 8th graders. So they will be grouped. So any of our bilingual learners that are in kindergarten, first grader, kindergarten, first, second, third, they'll be in classroom A, and then the older kids will be in classroom B.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know if it was proposed to offer one
Oh,
or the other.
right, yeah. So, right, it's, yeah, I just wanted to make it, yeah, we're not putting all of them together in one.
Yeah,
room,
okay.
so, yeah. Okay, so that was academic. The enrichment, again, you will see some of the differences here. So this is really where we still wanted to offer something. We think that the community really has enjoyed having the full day opportunity for summer school when it is running. But all funds that we have available to us through grants are being used for that morning session. So that really maxes us out. We are to the penny on that program. So in order to run that afternoon piece, it would be a cost to the families. So we would run courses, they would be $150 for those afternoon sessions. They would run from 11:30 to 2. Lunch would still be provided, but not transportation. The target class size here is a little bit larger because they're more of a fun kind of, just activity-based class versus the academic. So we do have a little bit larger class size, 18 to 24, with the caveat that, again, for our budgeting, as we kind of broke it down, what we would need, they need at least 18 students to register for that course, or we wouldn't be able to physically run it. So hopefully, I wouldn't imagine that it would be a challenge, but if somebody did sign up for something, we would certainly, ask them to put their second or third choice so we could move them to another one if the one they chose first, for some reason, wasn't able to run. The enrichment courses were proposed this year by staff, so it went out to all staff. I mean, we had several folks, not even just teachers, so any staff member across the district had the opportunity about 2 months ago, I would say, I think is when it went out, and then they had to get it in right before spring break if they wanted to propose an afternoon enrichment class. So these are the ones that were proposed and approved. Most were, I mean, unless we had a few folks that have proposed several, and then there weren't additional people that had put in to teach those. But I think everything that was out there, everyone got at least something that they asked for. So we'll have arts and crafts program. So this, again, would be 3 different sections. So a kindergarten first grade group, a second grade third grade, and a fourth grade fifth grade group. So you kind of see the basic description there of what they would be doing. And so it's bringing the reading into the arts and crafts, so they would read about something and then do a craft that kind of goes along with that. And again, it would be appropriate for the grade level of that group. The gardening fun, again, kindergarten first grade group, and then also a second and third grade group. So they would learn a lot about the vegetables, the flowers, the growing process, and then they would kind of go out around our district and do some work with planting, and then also identifying and kind of little field trips almost to see different plants and flowers and things in our area. Camp Marvel is for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, and that is where they kind of create their own superhero, and it's kind of like a comic book series type of a class. So they're building their own comic book through this class, and again, learning about different ways that you could help your community through writing the story with their superhero. Campfire Stories is for second and third, and that one is more of a creative writing class, but with that camp theme, kind of the summer camp theme. Let's Get Moving, there's a 4th and 5th grade group or a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade group, and that one again is more like the physical, so not necessarily like a gym class, but again bringing in some of the literacy skills because we really want this to continue to be an enhancement there, but also an opportunity in this case to get the students physically moving and enjoying that with their reading. And then we have pie, puzzles, and games, and that is for middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and so that's kind of like math-related games. So it's we spend a lot of time doing games, but then learn those different math skills as they're doing the games, and then ultimately they have to kind of compare and contrast how they approach the game to come up with a team and to the best solution for certain puzzles. So team building there as well. Game On is really, again, related to reading, so they'll do a little bit of research around an athlete or a team that they are interested in, but then along with that, they will get to participate almost like in a little mini Olympics where there will be a few sports that the students will do actively and then compete with each other in the class. We have Tinker STEM Camp for 4th and 5th grade students, and again, this is another science-themed camp where they will be doing STEM activities. We have a Microsoft Office and typing, so again, that one would be, as you can understand, using those Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, to make sure students have those basic skills under their belt, but also they'll put together more kind of entertaining, fun presentations and flyers and things that they're interested in, so they get to pick the topics there. And then we have a theater adventure program for incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, so again, they'll kind of do a little, mostly kind of just the different skills and roles that you would have within a theater program. Since it is a short time, they won't really be able to put on much of a production, but she is definitely looking at some way, shape, or form of being able to allow the students to do some kind of small presentation at the end, if it's a little mini monologue, something small, so that they do have the opportunity for presentation too. So, I can pause there. Any questions on the enrichment?
I just had, so the academic ones, that we're providing transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So if I send my child to the academic one, they can get there, but if they're going to do the afternoon, I have to pick them up.
Right.
That's the idea.
There will
Okay.
be no bus at that 2
Okay,
o'clock.
but they'll get their lunch, breakfast and lunch, and then go to their
You got
afternoon.
it.
Okay, thanks.
And the breakfast and lunch is a little different because it's under the rules. We're just extending the school year breakfast and lunch for those 2 weeks rather than running a summer breakfast and lunch program.
Can I ask a question? Yes. So I'm so glad to see that we are doing something, even though I know that we're losing funding and everything, but is there a reason why we're only doing the 2 weeks? Since we're charging families anyways, like, is there a reason why we're only doing the 2 weeks?
I think just that was what we wanted to make sure that the academic piece was still free and clear, that they could do that without. And so that was really where we was kind of that sweet spot. It was like if we went longer, it would probably have a shorter time during the day.
Right.
And we go back to the 4 days. So we definitely played with a few different calendar models, and we felt like this one gave us the biggest bang for our buck as far as what we did have available. But obviously this will be our first time seeing it. We see that families are very willing to pay because, even if you break it down, this is certainly a much cheaper rate than if they're going to a private daycare babysitting type of situation. It really is.
Yeah, right.
And so if that's something that we realize, the community is willing to do this, then we absolutely in the future could look at extending it. At that point, then we would know, okay, they're in for this and we can build it for them. So I think we're kind of trial a little bit this year too to make sure that that's something that they're willing to be participating in with us.
And then how do we come up with the $150 fee? We just do like the
It
cost?
was so based on like staffing essentially, right? So how much would it cost to pay that teacher their proper rate to be there plus a small material budget that really truly just covers the teacher for those 2 weeks and a minimal material cost of it. So yeah, we just backtracked it that way.
We have a lot of supplies still left from the previous 2 years that we'll use up those supplies probably this year.
Right. So we're lucky in that way.
Yeah.
So registration will be open soon. I hope to have everything out by Thursday, at the very latest, the first of next week. But flyers will go home, so like nice, flyer will go home with the students to share with their families. We'll also have an online interest form, so that'll be kind of the first step. So the flyer that goes out will also post it on social media and our normal ways that we push all those things out. But it'll have a QR code that'll take them to their form. So those classes for academics will be listed in enrichment, and that's where they'll indicate their first, second, third choice as far as which ones they want. So that's kind of like the course request, if you will, and then we'll take that information in and let folks know if they got their first request or if they had to be moved or got waitlisted on something. So we kind of mostly an online registration type of setup, but through being advertised through those forms. Then as far as payment, it would just be due, President and I played a little bit with the option of maybe doing it the online similar to we do with like the pay-to-play type of things, but there was still a lot of kind of kinks with that, so we didn't want this to be complicated for families. So they'll have the opportunity, they could simply pay on that first day when they come in, or if they're able to come to our office and pay anytime before that, once they're registered, they would be able to do that as well. And any other academic or enrichment questions before I turn it over to athletics?
All right. So we, get my cheat sheet. This year we've got 7 different sports that are offering camps through our programs with our coaches, or our coaches are organizing it. Some of these are camps that are held year over year. A couple of these are new. So the first one is one of those new ones, which is a tennis camp. June 9th to the 12th, I know, right there, Board Member Cunningham. I knew I was going to get that question today, if it wasn't up there. And this was one, we worked with, if anybody knows Coach Lemon. Coach Lemon does everything 100%. So she got this all set up. She got it set up because the courts are at the Parks and Rec, the registration will be through them. But it will still be our coaches, our kids running it, and they will get a portion of a majority of the proceeds that go towards it. We're working out all of those costs, and like Billy said, I'm going to create a flyer that'll go out to all the parents with the kids, with all the different camps and what they cost and where they are and where you need to go. I had the same idea with registration from doing this now 2 years. A lot of our parents prefer that walk-up registration where we had a lot, when I put the big form out, they signed up, they forgot they signed up, and they didn't come. So a lot of them just preferred that walk-up, so we kind of want to stay with that model. Baseball, I put this one on here. Coach Evans has run this Diamonds and Dreams camp for a couple years, and my idea was, if it's our coaches, our programs running these camps, let's get that information out to those parents. So that camp runs June 16th to the 19th. Once I finalize that, the times with Coach Evans, he's hammering that out with Little League. I'll get that on the flyer and out. Volleyball, June 17th to the 19th. Coach West brings in Hillsdale College. A lot of their coaches help. Their coaches will do the 9-12 session. Their coaches and some of our girls help out with the 5th through 8th grade session. And then wrestling, Coach Berg's kind of doing it as somewhat of a continuation of Junior Devils, but also an opportunity for some of those parents that didn't do Junior Devils during the winter. They want to have their kids come check out what wrestling's all about. That is June 23rd to the 25th. In the age range there, the K-8, talking to Coach Berg, the idea was to kind of split the room, use the high school kids, split the room, so you've got depending on the numbers, K1, 2, 3, maybe 4 together, and then the middle schoolers together for that. July, boys basketball, their camp, 3rd through 5th grade, and 6th through 8th grade, July 7th to the 10th. Then we flip, the next week is girls basketball, and those times actually changed, and I'll make sure that's updated on my flyer. They're all going to be an hour earlier. at the high school gym. I have a soft spot for that camp because it always makes the coolest Facebook picture when you've got all the girls in the bright yellow shirts playing, bright pink shirts playing basketball and just having a great time with that one. And then July 21st to the 23rd is the football camp at the stadium. Last year we got rained out one day, so I just put there the high school gyms are inclement weather spot for that. The other one I'm waiting on, I'm working with Jimmy from Strikers on what opportunities he's going to have for our kids for bowling over the summer. So when I get that information from him, I'll put that in that flyer as well, so that those parents, one spot, where can I go for my kids to do some of this over the summer, and they'll have all of that information together.
Plus, that flyer just came to me today, so I'll forward it.
Perfect. Sweet.
So is it, when it's K-8, if I'm an 8th grader now,
Yes.
am I able to do these?
Yeah, the idea was
So
what...
it's not going into
No,
eighth
no,
grade.
sorry, what grade they're going into.
Okay, so it is,
Yeah.
so.
So like if
going into
you're going into
visualize.
9th grade, if you're going into 9th grade, we're gonna rope you into help.
Okay.
Yes, you're gonna get assigned to help
Okay.
coach.
Question real quick.
Sure.
So I noticed football's just through 5th. Are we not doing 6 to 8 at football?
No, and I asked Coach Misko about that. Those are the ages he usually did for football, was K-5. I can ask him about that if we want to open that up a little bit higher for some of those 6th graders.
You know, the boys in those grades seem to like football. So
Yeah, and
it could be a good.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that one is it's right before our kids, the dates we're targeting for the team camp for football. So it's kind of the kids do the youth camp, and then they go off and they do their camp as well. And it's right before hometown starts out too.
Yeah, great.
So, yep, I'll ask him about that.
And then the cost for all of those will
The
be
cost will be
on
on
the
there. Yep.
website for each,
Yep.
what each camp is.
Last year we did, I think it was $75 per student per camp. I've just got to confirm with what coaches, what ones want to order t-shirts and what ones need me to order them t-shirts.
Okay.
And we'll put all that information on there. And these are great fundraisers for the programs, because what we do is the proceeds the coaches collect from this, we put right into their internals so they can do all their fun stuff with it.
So the tennis one will go to the tennis team?
Yes, so I confirmed with Coach Lemon because it has to run through Parks and Rec because it's at the park. So that one gets split 70-30. 70 for our tennis program, 30 for Parks and Rec. So, which is similar when I worked there in a past life. That was similar to how Coach Pearson ran it when he did his camps up there as well. So.
The only one that might not be is bowling, but I just got the flyer today, so we'll
Yeah.
have to talk about that.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Bowling,
the-
that's just, the bowling one, I'm just gonna put that in there as, hey, this opportunity's out there for our kids.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
One question, Professor,
Sure.
the tennis one. Is that going to be, maybe you don't even know the logistics of it, but registration, like a set price because it's run through the school? Because I've had issues sending my own kiddos up for the Parks and Rec stuff because we live in Casco, which is not really Richmond, but we attend Richmond schools. So, and they tend to have different prices for Richmond as opposed to Casco. So because it's to benefit the
Yep.
school, would it be just kind of a streamline?
that is a great question,
Okay.
and I will get that answer for you.
Okay.
I would hope that that doesn't come into play.
Yeah.
You know, since
Right.
it's a school thing, that would be my
Yep.
hope.
Yeah, I'll figure that out, I'll send that answer to Brian so he can share it with the group. And I'll make sure that that's on the flyer.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, and all of this, as they start coming up as well, we'll put a blast out on the Facebook pages about it, so. I think that was it.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank me, thank Coach Lemon.
Okay, next is the Elementary and High School Media Center furniture.
So I just want to remind the board, over the last year, we were putting money aside in our non-bond capital projects fund for door replacement. And then one of the items that was on the, if we had money left from the bond, was furniture. So in order to use up the bond from the 19, we bought the doors. So the money that's sitting in the non-bond capital projects now is now earmarked for the furniture. So we just flip-flop. So what I'm going to show you is each of the buildings worked with school specialties. So this is a bid document, so we don't have to go out for a bid. They have a state bid program to look at what kind of how the media centers are currently being used and how they want to kind of evolve to being used. One of the challenges at the elementary school is it's not kid-friendly furniture from the bookcase perspective. And we've got K3 kids, they're this high, and the bookcases are this high. And so there's a visible line. So in your packet, you have this document which talks about each of the buildings. So the elementary, when you look at this, for those of you who are not familiar or sometimes like me struggle with physical layouts of maps and so forth, this is the entranceway to the elementary school. You come in, there's two doors. These are the bookcases that go into the computer lab in the back of the elementary school. So in this, there would be seating, new circulation desk, and you're going to see these curved bookcases and some other furniture. Each one of these is labeled in your packet. The furniture, number one, we want to make sure is for students, but we also use this oftentimes for training for staff. So we also need it to be multifunctional. Parent meetings, PTO meetings are held, etc. Okay, this gives you a visual. You'll see the bookshelves are much shorter, but yet by having the curved design, it gives you a lot more creativity in how you lay them out and create reading notes and so forth. These bookcases that are along the back wall that go into by the computer lab would stay. Those are not being replaced, because everything else in the media center would be replaced. You see this one is kind of in the front, kind of a reading nook in the beginning, colors and kind of matches the color scheme in the elementary school. Kind of see the bookcases are much more student-friendly, easier to read, so you can divide the sections with fiction and non-fiction area. You'll see some of the seating is the backs of the bookcases. These are kind of the bookcases that looking at from the computer lab room. Tables are in pods of 4, chairs similar to the color scheme of the chairs that we have in the building. You see some more of those kind of curved bookcases, some more seating for students and more staff. And then this is where the computer lab is on this side. And you see the color schemes that go with the current carpet. That carpet was put in the media center in the 2013 bond. So that we did not replace in the 2019 bond. Elementary kids generally, it's less wear and tear on the carpet. Again, the color scheme and so forth, so you'll see the quantity and so forth. This totals for the elementary school about $74,000 to almost $75,000 for furniture. All warranted, etc.
Am I saying that correctly, that kind of like all the chairs and all the bookcases and things are all on wheels as well, so it could be easily accommodated or rearranged?
Yes, you can move it around and rearrange. That was one thing that when we looked at the middle school, we've done a lot of meetings at the middle school media center furniture. The two buildings like the ability to move things around. Those tables, are the chairs? Oh yeah, they are. So that you can really make them however you want to set. So it's similar.
So when I was in school a long time ago, we had like one of our specials was like library, right, or whatever. Do they still have that in the elementary school?
Yeah, they go down to library at least once a week for their book checkout, so forth. It's not a special that it's a release time for the teacher, but the teacher's there with the media person, and they might read a book, they might talk about an author, they might have a chance.
So can I ask one more question then? I'm sorry. I love this furniture here. I love this. I've been about furniture all year, as you guys know. I just feel like, and especially in like a media center, like you want kids to be comfortable, like, you know, put your feet up, read a book, right? But now, so why do we, if we're not having classrooms there, like what's the need for the tables and the chairs rather than like beanbag chairs or whatever?
For professional development days
Oh,
for
okay.
teachers, as
Oh,
well
okay.
as PTO meetings.
All right.
I'll need them there for next Monday night's community conversation about the bond at the
Okay.
elementary school.
Okay, fair enough.
And I do see the classes use, I mean, I'm sure they use a comfortable seating too, but I do see,
Right.
you know, even with like the teachers, hey, I'm gonna pull you this group over and do something, you know, it's
Yeah.
helpful to have like a more traditional spot as well.
Yeah.
And two, I don't know if you, like that window where those chairs are backed up to, that's
Yeah.
the first thing you see when you walk in and leave, right? So just kind of putting that in perspective, it gives
Yeah.
such a nicer view.
Mhm.
for
Right
that
now, you
person.
see these
Yep,
5-foot bookcases,
exactly.
the top shelves are pretty much empty because the kids can't reach them.
Mhm.
And they may have some stuff displayed on it, but it's much more appealing. When you look at the shapes on the floor, a lot of students with special needs, and you can do a lot
Yeah.
with this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
No, I love
that
this
was
stuff.
the thought of looking at the students that we have at Lee and what we want this to evolve and be part of.
So these chairs here, the cool chairs, if I may, like how tall are they?
They are, I don't know if the actual school height is on here. They're 26 inches high, 21 inches wide, and 26 inches deep. Most elementary teachers are used to sitting on small furniture.
Yeah.
Because they do it every day in their classroom, so. But yeah, it's really designed to be inviting, making kids want to read, in a space that they can.
Can I ask about the little stools,
Yep.
like the stools they have? Do kids really, I mean, it doesn't feel like something,
These?
yeah, like that kids would want to sit on? Or do kids just sitting on the stool? You just like sit, I mean, I feel like
We
it's
have-
not cozy to like,
We have stools in classrooms.
Okay.
That teachers use in their regular classrooms. They have stools that are, they're kind of hourglassy, so they kind of also rock.
Well,
We have a
sure,
variety
like,
of types of students.
those
so
don't
this-
look like they do that. That's why I'm like, would a kid really go, and I don't know, but would a kid go and just,
But this could be used as if I'm a Title I teacher and I'm pulling in a group of 5 kids and we're reading around, this would be a great, it's more of an inviting area than just sitting in a classroom at the desk and chair. That's what we're trying to create. So it could be a group of kids. It could be on there, they could display new books that are just arrived in the media center.
Does each one of those, I guess, pedals or seat, if you will, pull
They
away from
They
the?
pull away from that table. So when they're not being used, you kind of have the flower, but when then they pull out and you can kind of sit and then you have a round
So
table.
somebody could take that
Yes.
and go off to the
Yes.
side and sit down?
like sit somewhere?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to lean back, like I like the chairs because there's a back and they can lean. And then even if you go back up, there is that like flat seating, like with the thing behind it, right? Yeah, like see how there's that, at least like
Yeah.
maybe they can lean up against
Yeah.
it, but
If
as long
the
as
wheels
you
lock in.
feel like kids.
These-
are
That's what I
not-
first thought, somebody should do that.
These would be,
Yeah.
these would be ideal for kids that don't need the back, who need to move and adjust and wiggle.
Okay,
And we have,
but they don't wiggle, those things.
these don't, but they
Okay.
have like a caster that glides on the carpet, but they don't have wheels on these. The other ones have wheels. These do lock, those bookcase wheels lock so much better than they do.
Okay.
I can see that almost even the teachers sitting on that and the children around.
It could be.
Like they're higher and watching.
So that's the elementary. In the high school, again, we're looking at, the high school's a little different. You can see they've been adding books here, mostly on the left side here. They just spent, I don't think they've all come, but we've started adding a subscription magazine racks that, I know they aren't all in there.
We just got voted.
Just trying to process what does a high school media center look like in 2025, which is very different than the traditional high school that probably all of us grew up into. So here you have 2 sections. You have give you the context, this is the board table. None of this is changing. So this has the ability that if we need to move this or change this, they're all on wheels, you can pop your skirt off, etc. So you're going to see some seating around here, some seating over here, and a kind of design in that area over there. So the media center at the high school is oftentimes used during the day by kids who are in the college program or online courses. Sometimes teachers will bring their classes down here. It's not as often used like it used to be when we first put them in here. So the computer tables, you currently have like two, what we're actually going to put only do 6 computers around each one. And these computers are then going to get moved over to the middle school where they have around the student store. There's a space for computers, but we didn't have computers there, so we'll now be able to put those in there. But from the high school perspective, this is the circulation desk. Again, it says the logo, but in essence, that is going on that side over here. So it's not going to be on this side. You've got kind of various chairs and seating and tables. You're going to see some kind of high tops. You're going to see some stools. You're going to see some regular chairs, tables. This is kind of as meeting or areas where kids can sit and work at. This is kind of the visual going down. The only difference is there will be a table at the end, so you'll have 6 computers around each one of those. So there'll still be 24 computers available in the media center. So a table will cap it off. The other side for the tables here, you'll see that this is kind of the traditional format, but they are interchangeable. You can move around. There's some chair seating. Over here in this area, you're going to see some high top seating, some bench seating, and kind of the stools. Kind of visual, see it from this angle. In front of the glass area, more of the cafe style, or couch style. Over there, in front of that glass window over there, there's more of a couch and some chairs sitting. So when you come in here, you're going to see kids, they're kind of spread out. So it gives them a variety of areas, whether I'm working on my laptop, I want to sit at a high top and work on it, I'm working on an assignment, I need a table, so there's a variety of aspects.
So like, is it, I'm sorry.
No, so with the high tops, the half moon shaped, would there be any outlets attached to that?
The outlets are along the wall. We don't have any outlets that were put in the floor.
Because I'm just thinking if a student's going to sit at that with their laptop to do work and they're going to want to plug something in.
But it's along the wall, the back wall that we have to plug in.
Would there be an option to have one cord go from the wall and then maybe multiple outlets? So then that way, it's something that can be under the carpet, not a tripping hazard or a safety issue, and then come up and feed those stations.
Kind of like you like to have those at like the airports or like
Starbucks.
the
Like a coffee house or some kind of little cafe or something.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, it's kind of same with these round tables, they're a lot more enclosed and closer to the outlet themselves. I mean, like the furthest point of this table to us is a lot closer than if it was to be long and to point away from the outlet. The kids on the end of the table might not have that opportunity where this is a lot
The long
closer.
table are just for the design, doesn't mean that's what the look is going to be. They can be broken up into smaller tables.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was asking. I was curious. Okay, that's cool.
This one looks, I don't know, feels congested to me, just like this one.
I don't know.
I'm trying to. So basically this area right here, that's a lot of seating for that one space, isn't it? I mean, that's.
You got to remember, this is also used for professional development, so we have to accommodate 50 staff people.
So obviously the drawing isn't completely accurate because we've got more openings than what are shown. But like, so are the tables just going in between then, where the openings are? Or, I mean.
They would be spaced out from that end down to that end.
Okay.
And they might not be one long table. They could be staggered like these tables are.
Okay.
They could be turned.
I like, okay, because the way this looks, I just feel like it looks like a cafeteria to me. But, okay, so there might not be this exact.
Correct. We just look at, we needed to accommodate X number of seating for the adult aspect that's also used in this room.
Cool.
I don't know, I'm just not convinced with the design, like, kind of like Sarah said, it just looks, it looks like, yes, it's a multi-purpose room, it serves different functions, but like, it looks like that too, it doesn't look.
It doesn't, just that, I don't know, just to me, that particular picture doesn't look very inviting to me. It does definitely look more professional development than library, come and read. The other spaces I think look really good. That one I have mixed feelings about.
But didn't he just say that
It might look
it's not
different.
gonna, it might not necessarily be set up like that? That's
Yeah,
just,
that's just all I have
that
to go
picture
on.
right there.
Because that's the
I
picture.
don't know if it's just
This
like
allows
a
for
U-shaped
40,
one looks
this allows for 40
there or
seats,
something.
40 seats.
Yeah, that's, like, the seating is worth it, especially if you can reconfigure it.
7, 8.
Yeah.
And the seating here is 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 6.
You get the
Times
trick
4.
walls too.
So,
Yeah,
I feel like it's very wedding showery.
But with the versatility, like you said, so you can mix and match and change the setup to meet the need of whatever you're hosting.
It looks practical.
Because I also feel like, I mean, just looking at this, because this isn't changing, you said, this whole space is staying the same, right?
this piece,
yeah.
unless you guys want to change it.
No, I'm just thinking you're gonna have, so you've got, you know, that whole long table coming up to this table. It feels very clear to me, but I'm a minimalist, so I don't know. It just feels like a lot
If you
going
go
on.
back to the, like, more of the blueprint one, does that help us see this?
The spin skin?
See, I mean, yes, it does look tight, but I don't know, like, to me, I feel like you'd see, like, it could spread a lot more that way.
Yeah.
You could put these two chairs over against that wall and put some of these chairs in that
In
section.
that, I mean, it might just need to be broke up a little bit, because the way that it looks very,
Actually, I think it's a shame that that's the picture that's being
It-
shown, because
not
because
great.
he has said there's different ways you can do it. It's just that picture doesn't do it for some people, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean that's how it's gonna get set up.
Well, and I think it's just good to get the feedback out there, because sometimes people don't see it until someone says it, and now then someone says, and you're like, oh yeah, I do see that it's not very inviting. So I just want to get my thoughts out there, because I hate for you to do it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I don't like that. Once you buy it, it's done, it's there.
Well, this furniture was bought in
But-
96. so-
Yeah, but I think we are buying it, talking about buying it, but it may not be set up like
But
this
he
is what
said
I'm
these might
saying.
not be all long tables, so this might not be what he actually purchases. And he said-
No, this is what, this is two tables
It's
here.
two tables put together.
Two tables, so if you want to take
Got it,
one of those
okay.
out and you want to put them over here,
Right.
we can do that if we want to do.
That's why I'm saying the picture,
Might not look that, okay.
the picture's
Because
not
that- yeah.
working for some people,
yeah.
but the idea of the tables, the purchase of the tables is gonna work because it's going to be set up to be inviting.
I hope so.
I have every faith that it's
Yeah,
going
I
to.
mean, currently,
Because that doesn't.
throwing it
that's
out
not-
there, it's no.
I like the multifunctional piece with the high top on the back and then
Yeah, the rest of it I love, it's just that picture,
that's.
Well, Can I
Try not to
ask, can
think
I
about
ask you guys what you think of that area, the new stuff?
Oh,
Just 'cause you guys
100%.
are
Do you
student
want
high school
some?
students?
I mean, I like the high top area for sure.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I like, I like high tops. in
Yeah,
my-
right.
in my work, so I definitely find that beneficial.
100%.
It's like a college vibe.
Yeah.
It's like a-
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was going with the term practical, like, it just kind of makes sense. You're optimizing the amount of seating so people can get what they need out of the media center. It's not just a place to lounge, it's,
Right.
you want to lounge and be productive if
Right.
you are to lounge at all. So I did want to, like, kind of picture this, so the media center desk would be at the front, closer to the entrance of the door, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, interesting. And, I mean, personally, I don't know if students would feel encouraged to move things, like, I guess that might be the only worry. And if people come in, because I know people frequently eat in the media center to take a break, you know, to spill something on the furniture, and then it's like, you know, because you have these, I mean, these chairs, of course, are a lot, you know, the plastic chairs back there are easy to clean. I mean, I don't know, I've never had a piece of furniture like that. I think it's awesome. But, you know, of course, there's always going to be the downsides. The question is whether it's better than what we have. And I would argue, yeah, I think it's a good level of change. It's very, what's the term I'm looking for? I've already used productive. But You get, yeah, practical, no practical, I've said it. Maybe, you're right, I've already said practical. It feels productive, like it's a good setup, I like it.
I like the idea that you can like move, because these are hard to move together if you do like a group project or something. I like
That's
the
true.
idea that.
That's a great point, yeah.
Because, I mean, we did people in here and it wasn't very easy.
Yeah,
to
my law and justice,
collaborate.
yeah, my law and justice class as well. I mean, you've got two spheres, you know, you really gotta squeeze them together where you have the longer. And that's, that alone, I could see like, you know, a cup of coffee, a business meeting at that chair, like it just, it's really cool, I like it.
So when you look at the last page, the total of this furniture, when you look at it, it comes to, this is about $60,600. So all in total, for you talk about delivery, install, and so forth, we're talking about $150,000.
So nothing in regards to the middle school?
The middle school was done in the bond, the 19 bond.
Yes. Right, I just wanted to make mention of that, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Is the idea, Brian, that this will come back to us in 2 weeks to approve, and then with the idea that it'll go out for purchase and be ready to go when school starts?
Yep, the intent is that it arrives prior to June 30th, but we wouldn't do anything until after school gets out.
Okay.
And we also have to surplus the furniture that we have.
That was my next question. What's the plan to do with that?
Could be a garage sale, depending on what we have.
Okay.
Go towards the new furniture.
But the plan is to do something.
Yes, we have to follow board policy. If there's a value of it, we have to at least try to get something.
Recoup something out of it, yeah.
Generally, you get nowhere near, I mean, these are from 96 bonds, so they are well over 20 years. And if you kind of flip them over and move around, very few of them have caps on the end. And I'll be honest, I'm surprised the carpet hasn't stayed. And they are very heavy to move, these furniture.
So would there be a cost associated for, if nobody purchased them, to have them, I guess, disposed of?
We did, when we got rid of the old desk, that was part of the bid when we bought new furniture in the 13 bond student desk and all the old desks. The Richmond Recycling came and took them without any cost to us.
Awesome.
They got the scrap metal costs, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
But they also assumed the labor to get rid of it. And then in your pack, you also have the warranty information regarding the furniture and so forth.
Good? Thank you. Next is our discussion on the elementary school for the proposed bond.
I think I had this up on the computer, but if you don't mind, I'll just sit here and do it. Unless you want me to stand
No,
up.
go ahead, sit there and do
I'm
it.
going to kind of go through the beginning slides somewhat. Okay, this is our last formal board presentation on the bond. Excuse me, at the next meeting, I'll be presenting to you a kind of costing out all the stuff that we've done. Next Monday is the community forum. Email did go out, or notice went out last week. There's one scheduled to go out, I think, on Thursday to remind parents about April 21st at Lee Elementary School. So we've gone through all the stuff that we've done. We've had multiple meetings. We haven't had a lot of input from community members attending the meetings, but I've had emails and I've had a lot of conversation with staff members. We did a luncheon at each of the buildings to gather, go over the bond scope, if you will, with staff members, gather their input, which I'll be bringing back to you as part of that final presentation. You know, again, we look at current numbers. Our numbers are based on full-time equivalent. That's how we get our dollars. But we have to take in consideration head count because we need space for kids. When you look at, again, our enrollment trend, the general trend is increasing. We recently contracted with Student Opportunities, Michigan Alliance for Student Opportunities, to update our information. These reports are on our website, and I'll show you at the end where you can find them. basically the trend, whether you with whatever method you want to use, the average is showing an increase, even over a 10-year period. Again, we looked at current capacity. Elementary school, though I have 3 rooms shaded, they're currently being used. There's no room that's not being used. But if we absolutely had to put an instructional area in there, those are the rooms that we would target. Middle school, there is no classroom left. You have the gym and the stage currently being used. High school, we have a couple, which is tied into the robotics room. And you have where, in that front hallway, the 200 hallway, and you have the current lessons in a backpack room where we house. That's a program that I would really not want to lose in our district because they do a lot of good for our families on the weekends. We've talked about this before, about the community has approved previous millages. This millage would generate the $51.7 million at this point. I say at this point because when the new housing values and all that come out in the next couple of weeks, a no increase could be a little bit more than that. But at this point, based on what we have from PFM financials, it's $51.7 million. And it's generated by, we're selling bonds, putting the money away in an account, we're gathering interest on that. So when you add the two together, that's where you get the 51.78 million. This is what the ask is. Next July, the millage rate is expected to drop over a 1.7 mils, which is significant. And so we're asking the community, rather than it drop, if you would continue paying it, this is how we generate the 51.7 million. We've already had 2 drops in the millage rate back in July of 25 and July of 24.
We haven't had July of 25 yet.
Good.
July of 23, you mean in 24?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just
Well,
making
it
sure.
really looks like in 25.
In 25, when you did you passed a resolution to collect the school taxes. In July, you passed it in last December. This July 25, there's a little drop from what we would have had before, and then there was one between 23 and 24.
Okay, so there'll be another one in July of 25.
It's small, and that
Okay, a small drop.
and if we were to ask the community to go for this coming July, it wouldn't be enough to generate what we need for the additions. Again, that just shows you the continuing. So planning for the future, we've talked about this. We've met with Hawk and Friends. I just met with them last week again to go over kind of what people have been saying. The questions regarding, let's see, at the middle school, we talked about the addition and possibly could cost it out to see what it would take for a second story, or at least prepare for a second story. We have those costs. We have that quasi cafeteria storage room for a future kitchen. We have those costs already projected out, et cetera. And so we've been working on that as we finish each of our meetings. So basically, at the middle school is our biggest need. This is kind of a summary of what we're going to cut, would we be asking for, would be the addition. And then looking at the expanded parking lot kind of in the back to accommodate for that addition. The one thing to keep in mind, the plan, as you see in this one, allows for a road and a potential future parking lot. That road and parking lot is in the light on the left side. It's like a light pink color, maybe it's yellow. This one might be. That's not part of the bond school, but it's for future that you have the ability as a board. High school, we talked about the 8 to 10 classroom addition off the science wing. Kind of doing some renovations here, restrooms and some offices at the main office. Again, expanding the parking lot behind the auditorium. So at the elementary school, what we're talking about is really, there's 3 main projects at the elementary school. One is in the kitchen area. That kitchen was not designed to be serving 600 meals at the elementary school. If you've ever been in that kitchen area, it's very tight. Basically, the kitchen would be a little more than double. Currently in that storage room to the left of the kitchen, kind of the door that opens to the cafeteria, that's where the freezer is. It would now be incorporated into the kitchen, so they don't have to leave the kitchen. Also would free up that storage room for supplies for gym classes and outdoor recess, etc. Basically, if you envision where the elementary kitchen is, it would almost go out to that sidewalk. That's kind of a visual. The kindergarten.
Can I ask you something? Did we end up getting that wall replaced?
No, that's one of the things that's on the scope to add to the, what it would cost to replace that wall. Between the cafeteria and the gym.
Correct.
Off the kindergarten wing, which is the 500 wing, we'd be adding basically 4 more classrooms and another kind of a support office for a social worker or so forth. In the conversations with the teachers, they would prefer that that playground be on the south side of the addition. So it's kind of a preschool kindergarten playground in that back area, which would be separate from the north side, which is where the existing playground is. The challenge of that is, if that's the ultimate goal, because in the bond would have money for playground equipment, because we'd have to take out the existing kindergarten playground. We basically have a year that the kindergartners do not have a playground, because that south side of the building is where the construction equipment will be coming in to build the addition. So we'd have to be very creative what we do in that year, but that would be their preference, to keep their playground and the preschool playground all kind of together, which is generally the age of the students on the playground. There are 3 main bathrooms that are called community bathrooms. These would be renovated, one up by the gym cafeteria right across from the music room, and then you have one at the 4 corners, and then you have one down the 200 hallway. Definitely 2 of the 3 are in need of repair, though the one by the cafeteria is also in need of some upgrading and repairs. So you see right there the 3 bathrooms. This is a scope of the grounds. So part of this design was looking at expanding a parking lot on the north side of the road, which would equate to about another 60 parking spots that we could fit in there. There's a lot of underground retention that has to be put into that. We did not put retention when we expanded the baseball parking lot. It goes to that little swale in the ground there and drains off. This we would need a retention system. So the elementary is it's the least of the 3 buildings from the scope of the work. There is on this to-do list the movable wall between the cafeteria and gymnasium that didn't get replaced. There's some kindergarten doors down the 500 wing that are on the list of costs. So you'll see those as we start costing them out. They'll either be priority 1, which will total to $51.7 million, or priority 2, which would be if there's money left, these are the other things that also need to be done. We've tried to get the communication out through the newsletters. We've done letters to parents. We've done meetings. At the next board meeting, I'll bring you that priority 1, priority 2, kind of as our first look at it. So as a board, you can kind of see, okay, how much are these things costing us, or projected to cost us? The numbers are typically very conservative, and they build in what they anticipate for inflation and what the market's paying at that time, or what they projected to pay for. Because we don't want to start a project and run out of money. We'd rather start a project, get it done, and say, came in under budget, now we got money to reallocate. So that's why you have the priority 1, priority 2 columns in the needs. By May 12th, we'll basically kind of do the final scope of the project. That will be our discussion at that one. We have a bond treasury meeting. The application has to be submitted to the Michigan Department of Treasury by the 14th. So a week later, on the Monday, the 19th, we have our bond treasury meeting with the treasurer. So they're going to take that scope of projects and what we've done. They're going to take our enrollment projections. They're going to take everything we have. They're going to look at our capacity of our building, because you can't you can't go for bonds if you have so many empty classrooms. We're not in that position. The one thing I did learn, though, is if there's a new regulation that if your building is over, it's 40,000 square feet, I can put the number, I didn't write it down. You have to design your buildings to account for solar panels on the top. Doesn't mean you are putting them in there, but they have to, by law, be able to have solar panels put on top of the building as well as rooms to put the electrical. The middle school is the only building that would qualify that we have to design the building to accommodate the solar panels. Did not know that until.
What is the rationale?
Looking towards the future.
So then after that bond review, the treasury meeting, what they'll do is they will basically yay or nay. They might say, hey, you got some tweaks you got to do to the application. So we'll need to schedule a special board meeting for you to approve the bond application after it's done through treasury. 30 days between that approval of that bond application and the approval of the language on November. So on June 23rd, we would approve the ballot language that would actually go on the November 4th. You're actually authorizing to put this on the ballot. We could, I just want to put it out there, we don't necessarily have to have a special meeting on the 20th. If you want to have the approval of the bond application happen on the 23rd, which would mean August 11th, which is your first board meeting back, you would have to approve the language. And then from the next day, by 3 o'clock, I got to get it to the county clerk's office.
I'd rather have more time in case we want changes.
Personally, I would ask to give it more time.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen between the end of this board meeting and 3 o'clock the next day.
Right, yep.
So, but that's really the scope of it. The elementary, like I said, is the least of the construction. And kind of when you're looking at a time frame here, just to give you a ballpark, if the voters approve it in November, bonds get sold in January, February, you're approving contracts in June of 26. We can break ground in July, August. Again, it will depend on what the market's happening, what steel's going for, if there's tariffs on stuff. So we may be back here scoping, bringing the scope down, where we have 12 classrooms, we may only have to be able to do 8, depending on the time that all this occurred. On the last bond, we got in perfectly. You know, we had COVID hit, people didn't have jobs, people were looking for jobs, and so prices were extremely low. We're in a little different environment right now in terms of cost. So hopefully any of these tariffs and stuff, especially the 124 tariffs, I don't know what they are now. If we're getting stuff from those countries, it's fixed by then.
So that really your priority 1 and 2 projects will really be.
You could have some priority 1 moving to priority 2 because of
right
cost
based off of it. Yeah.
Brian, did I miss, did we talk about restrooms here in this school?
In the high school?
Yeah.
Yes, there's the restrooms in the high school are all the back to the high school.
I'm sorry.
So you've got the restrooms up here by the auditorium. There, sorry. You've got the restrooms right on the corner here. This storage room might need to be taken over depending on what the restroom design looks like in space. You've got the restrooms at the 4 corners, that end of the building, and then you have the restrooms over by the gymnasium when you walk in that side. So those community bathrooms are all part of the scope.
So what do you mean by community bathrooms?
Where there more than one person's in the bathroom. So it might be 3 or 4 stalls. I say that because in the elementary, you got most of the classrooms there have their own bathrooms in the elementary. Other than this hallway, the 200 hallway, and then a couple of these classrooms here, all the kindergarten have their own bathroom. Most of these classrooms have their own bathroom, and all of these classrooms have their own bathroom.
So does that, with the remodeling or the changing of the bathrooms, does that, you know, there's been the issue in the past, whether it's going to be where both male and female can use the same bathroom? Is that the design? Well, there's no, right now, we haven't designed it, we haven't paid to have design, but there's options you have. So you could do the traditional like we have, where we're gutting them, putting in new toilets and dividers and sink and so forth. There are designs that it's more of a single stall. You have your own privacy, and then the sink area is just a common area where there's no necessarily doors walking in, but you've got single stalls all around the outside. You have a common sink area. So everybody has their own personal bathroom. It all depends on at that time when we do the final ad. What the cost is going to show is we've measured all of these bathroom spaces, and I'm just picking the number off. Let's say it's 50,000 square feet. A bathroom costs about $200 a square foot. That's the cost that's in the bond application. What it actually looked like will come after the bond is passed. When we sit down with the architect and say, okay, what's our preference? Looking at, because you have to look at capacity of the building, how many people are in the building. You have to look at plumbing codes to say, okay, you have to have so many toilets and fixtures, et cetera. Per student. Like band rooms aren't counted as classrooms, so we can't count those as physical spaces. Music rooms aren't counted as classrooms. Art rooms aren't counted as classrooms because they could be multi-purpose. They look at just actual classrooms. So they take the classroom, square footage says you can put 30 kids in there, count up the number of buildings. Okay, this building has a capacity of 700 kids. You need X number of bathroom stalls. So it's all formal. So that will all come once the bond passes and having a conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Brian.
I will just say it is exciting because this is an opportunity for a no increase. And it positions the district to be over the next 10, 15, actually 20 years, to have the capacity, barring some huge influx of students, but as everything's showing, to be able to have the capacity for our students. And this isn't, there's not a lot of kind of specialty when you look at this. This is just expanding our current footprint in a similar scope that we have, but still has the flexibility. These rooms can be used for really anything that we want to.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Discussion for the fiscal year 26 budget.
So I'm going to give you paper and I'm going to put it on the screen. So whatever your preference is, if you want to write notes down on it. I apologize I did not make a copy for you guys.
We taking one?
Yeah, just take one.
My future preference would make it bigger.
Well, I can make it bigger on the screen. So, all right, so basically this is a chart we've shown before. Looking at enrollment, October and February counts. You know, internally we use these, each grade level, did it go up or down between the two count days? But basically what we look at is, I'll try to remember the rest of this, what is the total? So in the past we have used, we just move kids up. We make an assumption about a kindergarten number, generally kind of the average or what we had in the fall past. Generally your fall count is a lot higher than your spring. People move during the school year. Either students go to a particular high school level, they may go to a 100% virtual program, they might be behind in credits, so they're going to another option. They might have graduated and finished their coursework early, and so they're leaving us. So there's a variety of reasons. So when you look at this case, you're going to see here that if I take the 90% blend of what we project to be our fall count, which is about 124 kindergarten, just moving every grade level up, and 10% of what we just had in February, you're going to see our net total is down 21.6 students. You're like, wait a minute, you're telling us that our projection is increasing over the years, which will explain the next sheet. So generally what we've done in the past is we use this, or we make an assumption that, you know, it's flat. We're going to do a flat enrollment to be safe.
So this chart that you have in front of you shows when you go back to 2017, the red number is what we sat at a board meeting sometime in the spring or May, April, May, and said that's going to be our estimated student enrollment. And the bolded black larger font letters was the actual student enrollment that came in. And when you look at the last 8 years, 7 of those 8 years, our estimates were too low. By an average of 3%. So if we take the current number and we move them forward, and we assume, okay, we're typically off, which is when you look at 3%, that's not bad. That's when you're looking at this is an unknown variable. We don't know when people are moving in. We don't know a lot of things about demographics other than kind of overall trends in history. If we take that average and we say, okay, let's take 60% of that to get us closer, that will put our enrollment at flat. That is where I feel comfortable, that's where Tammy feels comfortable, is if we base on a flat enrollment going into next year. Because we have historically, and this is, I look at this as very good budgeting, because the years that you get a drop, this year in particular, the worry is it drops enough that I got to pull a teacher out of the classroom after the start of the school. And that just creates a lot of problems. In all of our cases in the scheduling, we have room to grow in our classrooms. So we are not at capacity in almost all of them. There are some that there are unique classes that we're higher, but we have room to grow. So my recommendation to the board is that our enrollment, we base it on the FT that we built this budget on and just do a flat assumption. If we have more students come in, it will be benefit, it will just be a financial benefit. But if we are flat, we have room in our current staffing allocations to be able to cover that. So, we could budget down, and so that's what I want to show you, what would be the impact if we wanted to use that assumption. What this chart shows, and it's something that we've used in the past, we take that enrollment number. If we budget, just moving kids up that down 21 kids, it's a net loss of almost $200,000. If we budget a flat number, the same FTE that we did in 25, again, there's no net loss. We look at what the different Senate, House, and Governor's proposals would be, what would be the impact. So in this particular case, the way you read this is you've got your FT, which is what your student count. The number below it is whether you're up or down. I am recommending the board approve a flat. It generates how much income you would get on that number of students based on what the governor or House or Senate or ultimately what they approve. And then this number right here, what's the difference in the income that you had last year versus this year? So currently on the governor's budget, she has that we would receive $10,000 per pupil. It's a $392 increase, or basically a 4.08% increase. If we based a flat enrollment, did the blended count on $10,000 a student, that generates about $609,000 of revenue. The House budget has us at $10,025. I guess they wanted to up the governor, I guess, I don't know. Which is about a 4.17% per pupil increase. We spend a lot of our time on the per pupil because that's really the discretion funds that you guys have at the board. When we get into this 31A, Section 41, Title I, those are very limited, so you really don't have a whole lot of discretion on those. 1025 would generate about $648,000. And then I put 0 for the Senate because I haven't seen anything yet from the Senate. Usually We have some indication at this point, but we don't have that. This next section basically says your current revenue and your current expenses. These are from when you approved the Budget Amendment 1 in March 10th. That's what this number is. So what I did was I just rolled those over. We're not cutting anything. We're keeping everything the same. Same revenue, same expenses. All right. This number I'm anticipating to be lower. As we get now towards the year end of the district, or year end of the fiscal year, we've got the accounts, we've got the supply accounts that are not spent. We've got payroll. People have run out of days, so they're taking the days they do are being unpaid. So you've got all that rolling up into this account.
That 245 is going to be lower, you're saying?
Yes, it's going to be lower. It's going to be lower. So the amount you're borrowing from fund balance to make it when it's going to get lower. Where I believe it's going to fall is about 100,000.
Okay.
You got to remember, 90,000 of that was to fix the gym. Was a one-time expense last year in the middle school gym. So that expense will go away, and we won't have that. We won't have the building problem like that. So, I'm anticipating to be about another 145,000 off of that. And we're looking at water bills, electrical bills, gas bills that have come in that just we didn't spend the full amount. The next start talks about what you're audited. These are not. FY25 is not audited yet. They'll do that this summer. So these are just currently what our expenses and revenue. And then down here below, you'll have your percent of fund balance, your beginning fund balance. So in this case, we started at 3.8. We're ending roughly 3.5 to account for that 245,000. So we're about 15.6% of fund balance. Questions at this point?
So basically, you're asking us so that you can go further. Where do we want to be? Do we want to flatten it?
Do you feel comfortable just adopting the same FTE we did this year into next year, given that second chart that I gave you that historically our projections, and again, we just moved things up. We get kids that come in from St. A's, St. Pete's at high school. You can see on that the percentage at each level that's been different. If you don't feel comfortable, that's where that FTE number is really what we have to agree on, because that's the starting point that builds the rest of the budget.
But a flat is the safest way to do it right now with the situation being that you don't know what the situation is.
You're absolutely, there
Right.
are so many unknowns at this point, and I think we're going to have a lot of unknowns come June meeting. We're going to be
Right.
building a budget with more unknowns than I think we've had in the past.
With less information than we've had in the past to pass a budget. Right?
Correct. And we've got the whole dynamics of our area. You've got whatever's in the newspaper in a neighboring district that's a hot topic that may cause people to leave. We could be a product of gaining kids that way, because they might be frustrated. Not that I would want that on any district, because we've all had that. When you look at our numbers, we had the dip in that 23, 24. We were kind of in the news. People left, but people came back.
So yeah, I mean, you hope for the best but prepare for the worst, right?
Correct.
But Brian, can I ask a question? When you say we might gain students from other districts, we just went through a presentation where we're out of room. How many more students can we gain if we don't have this work done yet to expand our buildings? We can't really gain that many students then, right, if we're out of room at all three buildings?
Well, we typically, I'll start at the elementary school. We typically we're planning for 5 sections of each grade level. So at kindergarten, if we're basing on 124, that puts 25 kids in a classroom. We would be having a conversation on either continuing aides in those rooms or adding a teacher, because elementary has the ability to add rooms if need be.
2, 3, I think.
So you want it, you
So-
say if the student size goes up.
There's no grade level that is absolutely a contractual max based on how many sections that we're planning for. So for instance, high school, we have that small group is finally hitting 9th grade. When they were in kindergarten, we had 76 of them. We're now at 108, that same cohort. They're our smallest group. So if you divide 108, we're basically building on 5 sections of math. So you're talking about 22-ish kids in a class. That's very good math. So, 22 kids in a class. We still have room that we could, we're not even at class max by contract. Not that I want to put kid class max, but we have room
I
to
would
grow.
prefer not to do that at the elementary school, especially. I just think you get 30 kindergartners in a room, and it's probably pretty difficult.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
It-
I imagine.
It is.
I imagine it is. Okay, so, I mean, I just
So
wanted to.
when I say that was, our school of choice has always been unlimited, but we don't gain. You can see on the one, let me pull this up here for you. Just to give you a perspective. I asked Sarah Ogden, our people accountant, to give us a count of how many kids are actually school of choice in our district, in county and out of county. We're a 105C, which means we can take kids that are in Wayne, Oakland, St. Clair that border Macomb County. Generally, we don't get them in the south end, we get them in St. Clair. But when you look on here, for the 25-26 school year, we had 137 of our students were in county school of choice, and 161 were out of Macomb County, so 300 of our students are school of choice students. Last year, we were 260, the previous year, we were 292. So a good chunk, basically of 20% of our total population is schools of choice. Of the 1,500. So when I say I feel comfortable with that flat, we have the space now with that number. If we do go up, we still have some room, but if we get 100 kids, we're going to be coming to Plan B. So.
Yeah, I would prefer.
We're going to
not
get trailers.
I would prefer not.
Don't
I would
ever
prefer-
say that again.
I would,
Okay.
I would just prefer
Never.
we limit however many out of district kids so that we can maintain healthy class sizes and we aren't overextending ourselves. That
So
would
then
be
I
my
guess I
vote.
got to ask the follow-up is, does the board want to do limited enrollment? Because I have to make a decision when we do school of choice application and whether we are unlimited or limited. And limited basically says I can take 3 kindergartners, 4 first graders, 8 sixth grader,
I think you
no
have to do
10th
the math
grader.
ahead of time. I
You
don't
can't
want
though.
to.
You can't do it ahead of time because you have no
Yeah.
idea what that school of choice population is going to be.
I just think we're hard pressed to go to the community for a millage, and we're saying we're out of space, and we've got 20% of our student population coming from other districts, and we're going to continue to take more. I think we have to be transparent about that, and I think we have to cap it at some point. We're not going to keep taking all out of district kids and then say we have to go to our community for a bond to continue to grow our schools because we're out of capacity. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
But I will tell you, districts over time have evolved to that because their current population has aged and they're not leaving. And so the only kids they're getting are schools of choice.
Well, and that's
So when you
fine, but
look
our
at-
work isn't done yet, so for next year, I would prefer not to, like I said, exceed our classroom sizes to an unmanageable point where we have to put aides in the classroom. That's
But-
something I'm interested in.
But the aides in the classroom happened this year because we had more kids when school started for the kindergarten. And it was the teaching staff who met with administration and didn't want to move those kids, make a new classroom. So that's where those aides, we've never, I don't know in all my years ever, have we had teaching assistants, aides, parapro, whatever you call them. This was a special, unique thing. So whether that would roll into this year, like what you just said, in my mind, I don't know why it would, if we need an extra kindergarten class, there's room for an extra kindergarten class. And the way I look at the school choice is that number, that is there, but to start having a conversation about limiting, cutting off, school choice ruined public education, okay? But it's reality. So that when you start having a conversation at this juncture to change that, can cut us off financially hugely.
I'm just saying, we just heard how we are at capacity, we have no more space, and we're talking about growing and adding more people from other districts. I think we have to make it make sense for everybody watching.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know how it doesn't make sense.
Well, we just got done hearing how where there's no more space, but we're gonna grow our population by taking kids that don't live in our district. How does that not?
But what you're saying, we have that number, whatever that number, 300 students, but you're saying it in the sense that we're just going to keep on taking.
Well, that's what I'm asking. When Brian says we could gain, we could gain students from whatever might be going on in the community.
Right.
I want to make sure we're not overextending what we're going to take because we're clearly almost out of capacity because we're going for this bond.
I would think that we would be responsible enough to know our administration, our superintendent, all of that. But I think what I took what he said was how things happen around and how everybody gets crazy on the internet. This school's bad, so I'm sending my kid here. All of that crap that happens.
Yeah.
But you can't base that on that might happen down the road. We might not get any school of choice kids.
I just want to make sure we're making, like when Brian had said, if we get more, we can add more kids to a classroom, but we can add an aide. That's not something I'm interested in. I'd rather keep our class sizes manageable because I know it's difficult when you have too many kids in a class. It's difficult, especially I know, and I've talked about this before, but the higher learners, the higher achievers in the class consistently go overlooked, and I'm not interested in adding more kids to a class that may or may not need extra help to take away from the kids that may or may not be, fully challenged.
Okay, well, I don't think they're consistently overlooked. I don't think that's a fair statement.
Well, some teachers, some years they are.
But you just said they're consistently overlooked.
I think are more than the underachievers they are. I've had kids that go through and that's my goal.
Okay, but I don't think it's a consistent thing. All the point I was trying to make from your original was to start having a conversation about limiting school of choice and looking up. I think it's premature.
It might be, but he needs an answer now.
No, he doesn't. The answer that he needs is do we want to stay to plan our budget at the flat rate or at the reduction rate? That's all he needs from us right now, because that's where we start, and he's going to build the rest of the budget and bring the stuff back to us. So we got to give him that guy.
I'm fine doing flat.
Okay.
But again, we have to know our space issues, that's all. And that was just piggybacking off of the comment when he said we could stand to gain a lot of students from other districts.
Well, let me clarify that more. Given the economics that families could be going through, we could gain kids from the parochial schools that live in our district that they're ours, we have to educate them because they can't, whatever their dynamics, can't afford the tuition of a parochial school. Or we could gain some students that have previously been homeschooled. So when I say that's part of the unknown here that we deal with every year. And statistically, when you look at the historical trends, we don't typically gain a bunch of kids in 1 year. Our anomaly was COVID, because we were in person, and a lot of districts weren't, and so they sent their kids here.
Right.
But as soon as everybody went back, some of those kids left, and we had to drop. So I can't say 100% that we're not going to get a bubble, because I just don't know. But generally, when you look at historical trends, we don't. It's just been a steady increase, which we can accommodate given what we are currently. If that continues, now we got a problem because of the space issue, which is why we're asking people about it. So does that help to clarify it? So I guess my first question, does the board, is it comfortable with the flat enrollment? That's what we're going to build the budget going on.
I'm comfortable with that.
Danielle?
Yeah, I was just doing the numbers on my calculator, but it's like 1%. So, because 3% is 46 students. So it's like 1% or 1.5%, which isn't crazy based on, I mean, we had those couple of years where it was like 4 something, so that kind of upped our average. So, but 1.5 is still reasonable.
Yeah, and I would say with the information that I'm seeing, it makes sense to me.
Flat works for you?
Yeah, it seems to make sense with the information I'm seeing.
Flat it is, Mr. Walmsley.
Okay, so there's a couple things as we begin the budgeting process that I want to make sure you're aware, or at least have some talking points when you're in the community. And I will, the scenario that you have in front of you, I know it's kind of small for those that are sitting here, but basically, when the governor, this is in response to the governor's proposal. She released her budget first, okay? So they had touted last year that they gave us this one-time money to bring down our retirement costs and didn't give us a per pupil increase. They gave non-public schools or charter schools, which are public schools, the increase because they didn't have the retirement cost. That's this number here. We got almost $600,000 in one-time revenue to kind of offset our costs. And then they passed in the 11th hour the retirement bill that reduced it by about 6%. So what this sheet shows you is if we do nothing with our payroll, and this is our example of payroll, and you apply next year in the governor's proposal, our retirement rate goes from 31.325 to 28.02. We've got some of these offsets, which are the same. Here's that $600,000 gone, which is meant for 1 year. These are your other offsets that they put in. So when you add it up, of the governor's $392 per pupil increase, 113 of that has already been taken to account for the switch in retirement costs. So they've basically taken that out of your control as a board. Now you take that, what do you get left, 260-ish, 270? Now the third column is, let's make some general assumptions that people's payroll is not the same this year as it will be next year. We have contracts that we have to pay. We have contracts that we're negotiating. So this number is kind of a plausible increase in our salaries, and everything stays, $214 of that retirement cost is now increased of that $392 per pupil student. So it's eating away, and you guys have not even decided on how you want to allocate those. So those are the talking points that we need to be careful and watch, is what are these retirement costs and all the shell game that they're playing behind the scenes in Lansing. So this is just an example of the governor. So even though she says our retirement rate's down, that loss of $600,000, we didn't get in it per pupil, so it's gone. The other thing that you'll hear out there is that they're increasing at-risk funding. I'm not going to read this document to you, but I just want you to look at, this is a report that actually did an analysis of the at-risk funding. If you go to, I think it's the back of the second page, you're going to find Richmond, here's Macomb Schools. You're going to see one that says we are 12.8% down in at-risk student population. What does that equate to in dollars? Go to that last page. We're actually, even though there's a 4% increase in at-risk, based on how they're calculating, we're actually losing at-risk money. So for Richmond, it's 6,000. In some districts, it's almost 300,000. So it's just something that those categoricals that we look at, those are our support staff, those are our Title I aides, those are some of our social workers, those are some of our summer school programming. When we lose money, those things are the ones that we got to figure out how to pay out of general fund or be reduced. That was just more information for you to kind of watch the categoricals. I believe the only question I got to this date was, Margaret asked what it costs to bring substitutes back in district. We currently pay for 3 building subs, $98,200 approximately. It might be a day that they took off or were absent and we didn't have to pay that particular sub cost. If we were to bring them back in-house, these are the costs that we have to consider. So we used to pay a contract fee of 18.6% to EduStaff. We now have to pay the FICA and the retirement on those individuals. They would be eligible at some point for insurance. So health insurance, the hard caps for 25, you'll see listed here. The question is, do we offer dental and vision for those individuals? Oftentimes we offer single subscriber dental vision for a lot of our custodian, bus drivers, et cetera, that are eligible for health care. And then you got workman's comp. So if you did the single subscriber, the cost to bring those back would be $148,000 or another $50,000. If you offered them full family plans, it would be another $90,000. So these are some of the conversation as board members, we go through this process. There's a question of how much does it cost to do. This gives you an idea. It would be another $50,000 that we would need to hire them internally.
And they would get full benefits, they would get sick time, vacation, accrual, they would get all those things?
Correct. Because they would fall under the Earned Sick Time Leave, ESTA, Earned Sick Time Act that took effect February 21st. So based on the hours worked, we have to give them days.
If you bring them back.
If you bring them back.
Not right now, they don't.
They earn the days right now through EduStaff. So technically, they could take a day off from Richmond, and we're getting that in the bill, but work in Lance Cruz on that day off. We technically get double it. Because they're 2 different districts they're working into in that case. But either way, you're going to have either a sub for a sub in-house or a sub for a sub through EduStaff. So we didn't put that cost in, because either way we're going to need that cost. But bringing them back in-house, this is the big ticket. You're talking FICA and then the retirement.
Yeah, it is.
And the problem is, we're already, even if we take out the incidentals, 150,000 borrowing from fund balance this year, and that would add that gym repair back into the equation.
Right, basically, yeah, that gym repair was about 90,000, I don't know the exact, but about 80, 90,000.
Yeah.
Again,
So we'd still be out.
I guess if we had all settled contracts, and we had, I would feel more comfortable saying, let's consider it. But if we look at this, I'm in essence taking 50,000 of a revenue that's out there to get contracts settled. But I don't know how that would go over.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's valid.
It's kind of like when we did the custodians. We had an opportunity at that time to bring them back. We had a bump in this was our window of opportunity. If you asked me if we didn't do that then and I'm trying to do it now, it would be an uphill battle to do it now.
Right.
That was our window.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was worth checking into it.
It's good to see those numbers.
Yeah, it is.
A true perspective.
Exactly.
So this one's a little larger sheet, so you can write notes on the bottom. So this one one of the things that we're going to bring to you at the next meeting is looking at our, like, section 31. When Billy and I sat and did the budget this year, for years we have been carrying over money so that we could continue running programs with the uncertainty of what we're getting the next year. So it's almost like we had enough money to run the next year out. We're getting close to not having enough dollars to run those programs. So we'll bring at the next meeting kind of what's paid out of 31A. But what this shows is, again, you have your FY25, you've got your projected costs with the lesson student enrollment, you've got the governor's budget, the House budget, etc. The first line here is contracts. The ones in red are, we have not settled. Those numbers are not, they are just an arbitrary placeholder of what typically we've done in years past. It could be more, it could be less. Okay? At least to give you a ballpark. So we have the education paraprofessionals, the teachers union, and the secretary's contract, which we're negotiating. Well, we will be negotiating this term. So next year, when you look at childcare, because of the reduction in the paras that we did in the GSRP, the total grant next year will be less. Now, if we get the students, then we have to bring those paras back, and then we'll get closer to what we had this year. Food service, I zeroed out here, but just to give you an example, there'll be another $13,000 in the food service budget that we're going to have to absorb, which we're good with it because it's self-sufficient. The administrators is about $62,000. Again, the other two are just placeholders. Then you go to the next section, building security monitors. It's about $20,000 increase. Central office employees, it's $40,000. Custodians is $13,000. Breakfast and lunch aides increases. We increased their rates so this past February, so it's going to continue into next year, plus new retirement rates, etc. Hits about $13,000. You'll see breakfast on there. Elementary, we do have some that we pay in the morning to help with the number of breakfast. Technology department is $17,000, and transportation is $67,000. Okay. That kind of is a ballpark. These are items in the miscellaneous that over the next couple of weeks we're going to have to talk about what goes here. So for example, if we eliminated the 5 paraprofessional positions at the kindergarten level, that's about $78,000. We have to build in an unemployment cost. That is a ballpark. It probably could be lots because of the hours they work are less. Looking at dispatch at the high school or the transportation, the conversation is she would like to go to become a bus driver. So do we not fill that position? The bus driver. That position was put in there when we split our transportation director with New Haven. Now that we're doing our own, the question is, do we need that? I left the line item, bringing subs back to register. Title I, we're going to need to look at that because when we look at the total $31A, is there going to be enough to support what we currently have in programs with the allocation for next? That's coming at our next board meeting. But potentially 2 positions could possibly be reduced. And then we currently have practice on demand. It's the online tutoring that we offer. We have not had the usage like we've had in previous years. So the question is, do we want to not offer that for families next year? And again, I can bring you those statistics at the next board. That's about $17,000. So again, just quickly looking at those numbers, contracts, what we're obligated to, just some off-the-top stuff. You can see in these columns, Governor, House, and Senate. Senate has 0. I didn't put anything there because we don't have it. We're pretty much close to a net 0 budget.
So these, the miscellaneous items, those are the next
Those
round
are the
of
next
conversation.
thing. So the reason why I put on it, there's something like if you want to say, what would increasing supply budgets be 5%? We can calculate that, put that in here. What would, okay, we know we did band uniforms and athletic uniforms, costs are going up, we might need to increase those. What would that be? Kind of like what you asked with the building subs, that's what I'd be looking for board members. If there's something specific you want to see in that week, so we can cost it out.
Okay.
Brian, I know this was our first year with doing the pencils and all the stuff. How did that go? Was it predictable or?
This would be our second year we did the supply budgets.
Second.
We still have parents who want to donate. We still have parents who are asking, what can I donate? So we're not ending that. And I think we talked about that when it's here. There are classrooms that the budgets we have, they're tight. And there are classrooms that haven't spent their allocation. So we sit down at the budget, like Tammy met with Ms. Morella in the middle school. We are planning on adjusting some. It's a net zero, raising some, lowering some. So that's our process right now with the administrator. It's a fine line in terms of a teacher who wants this and needs it. I was a teacher, I did it for it. This is really cool. I want this stuff in my classroom, but it's not a need for the classroom. I wouldn't say there's a lot of those, but there's some of the things that have purchased. When we've had long-term impositions, sometimes the supplies weren't as cared for, so the following year we had to start with more supply dollars to put back into particularly the art programs, because our teachers are, in a good way, very frugal. They're very creative on how they stretch their dollar.
It's almost like they lived through the teacher depression, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well.
Because they did. No, because they did. That's right, that's exactly what I meant.
I haven't seen nobody's come to me and said, this is way too low. We've come and talked about, okay, we need to adjust it, and a lot of that is dealing with costs are going up. Box of crayons and more. We do get a larger percentage. We had a last 14 with the secretaries by going through school specialty to the online order. Our discount rate has now gone up to 31% because we're using the capacity of one vendor who's a Ramsey bid, basically, and we're getting more of a discounted rate by buying through that. So, I don't know if I answered your question, but it's.
I mean, I've not ever heard anything from the teachers.
Like I said, nobody has said there's not enough.
Yeah.
There's absolutely not. There's always room to grow in all.
Sure.
And that's all I have for this budget. So I would just ask if there are things you'd like costed out to see, or whether it's adding or reducing, this would be the time between now and the next board meeting. I just want to put it out there that we may need to have a special meeting in May if we get better numbers. Otherwise, our budget that we're building could be a lot of assumptions here. Basically, it could be this.
So is that something you want to tentatively do, or do you want to wait 2 weeks? And then in 2 weeks, we can, if you think we need it, then we can look and say what would be an extra day in May?
I would say we do it on May 20th when you do the approval of the bond.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
We do that first, get that done, and we just have a budget discussion. So it's one meeting.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on. Our Blue Devil Raves. Candace. Okay. Sarah.
Good.
Danielle.
I'm good.
Sandy.
Well, we haven't been here in a while, so I have a few.
Okay.
I did try to narrow them down. So I have 3. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to custodian Krista Barker for successfully performing the Heimlich maneuver on one of our students during lunch time. I don't think we've been here since that happened, so just real appreciative of that. Thank you for stepping in and doing a great job with that. I also wanted to say thank you so much to Brian and everybody else who helped to put on the State of the District. It was very informative, and you did a great job with that, so thank you so much for putting that together. And then lastly, I wanted to say congratulations to the mock trial team. I was able to go out and watch them perform, I guess, for lack of a term. And I think that they did absolutely fantastic. I got to watch the prosecution and the defense. So I was there for the semifinals. I was able to watch that, and I do feel, I understand that, Joseph was very kind in what he said earlier, but I believe they got robbed 100%. He was politically correct about it, I guess, but, and I'm not even saying that to be biased now. I do feel also too that I have to say that this is the second time that I've watched that, and both times I've watched, they went to the state, so I feel like I just have to go to all of the mock trial meets now, so that way they get there.
You're a good lecturer.
Yeah, I think so. But anyways, yeah, it was very interesting. It was they all did a very great job. It was very impressive. As you can see, they spoke very well up here at the podium, better than I do. So just, thank you so much for supporting, or for representing Richmond in such a positive way. They also were very, they were very polite and all of that. And so it was just, thank you so much for representing us in a positive way.
And she absolutely thought you got robbed because she called me like the next day and told me, so she's gonna.
You wouldn't believe my friends. Wow, they heard it from me those, what was it, about 4 days?
Yeah.
4 days. Usually, my mom's like, limit 24 hours. I broke that limit.
It was, it was not even by a little bit. I'm talking a lot. And a lot. I'm not alone either, but I just spoke to other people that were there, but I also did want to say, Ms. Bohr was there. She watched one of them too, and I also texted her right after, like, I cannot believe, as soon as I found out, that these guys got robbed from that, because they were absolutely amazing, so good job.
Appreciate it.
Ray?
This is life lesson, life ain't fair.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fact. I would like to rave on Brian here and the district staff, students, and local businesses that came together for that candlelight vigil. That was a great turnout, and just the outpouring of support for that. And I think it went really well, and it's a big impact. And I just want to say that was awesome. So thank you for everybody that had a hand in that and that was part of it.
Yeah, I agree. It was a beautiful ceremony, and it goes to Sarah and I, Rich, it just goes to show the small community in which we live, what they can come together even in the most tragic of circumstances. So to Brian and everyone in the administration and the students that made that happen. I want to give a shout out to the classrooms that I read to during March's Reading Month at Lee, Ms. Scott, Ms. Dorsey, Ms. Van Sledwright, Ms. Hunter, Ms. Zisselman, Mrs. Ottenbacher, Ms. Delecky's classroom, which Mrs. Good is in, and Mrs. LeGroy. It is the most fun thing to do as a board member is read in those classes, and I just have so much fun. And I want to rave and thank Mrs. Jar. I always get really nervous when middle school wants you to come into their classroom, but it was fabulous, and we did fables, and it was really a good, what's that? And the Friday dance. Yeah, the Friday dance, yes. So just, it's just a really cool experience and shows when you can get in there and read what great things are happening in our classrooms. So, okay, next. Joe and Elizabeth.
Kick off, Elizabeth.
So since we've last met, there's been a lot of testing going on. So, students in grade 9, 10, 11 completed college board assessments this past week. A huge shout out to our 9th grade students for the perfect attendance on their testing day. Grade 11 students took ACT word keys and will be finishing the testing season by taking M-STEP Science and M-STEP Social Science. On April 17th, we have 7 students who are being recognized at the BWAC All Academic Luncheon. Congratulations to our All Academic Liz Kosher, Olivia Ryan, Casey Steese, Amelia Hill, and Sydney James. Congratulations to Catherine Starnes and Bryce Yates, who will be recognized as our scholar athletes for the class of 2025. And then the spring musical will take place on May 2nd and May 3rd. And then for middle school, they have their annual Pi Day Assembly on March 17th. Congratulations to Michael DiTomaso, I think I said that right, who won the Pi Eating competition. That's always really fun. During that same week, our 4th and 5th grade teachers were able to experience hands-on ELA instruction and feedback from SAVIS representatives. The intent was to help our teachers maximize their understanding and implementation of the program. And then during the week of March 31st, our teachers worked on finalizing preparations for testing and closed the marking period, ending the week with a half day of school for Teachers Record Day. On Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, our 8th grade students took the PSAT, and we are very happy to report that all 8th graders have finished the test. And then that same week, our 5th, 6th, and 7th graders began the MSTEP. We will continue all MSTEP and MWA testing through mid-May.
Gotta love end of the year.
A lot of testing.
Yeah, even at the elementary school, they'll start NWA testing towards the end of this month. But as for testing, it's about as far as it goes. For the rest of elementary, the end of the year offers many exciting events like more the color run, as well as field trips, which we will report on more once the specifics are ironed out, unless Mr. Walmsley may have some things for us as well. They've also brought an extra learning experience, like a spring-themed learning experience at the elementary school, where they brought caterpillars to their early childhood learning center. And over the few weeks, preschoolers, will get to observe butterfly cycles from, start to finish. I remember that's, I'm obsessed with wildcrats and stuff. It's just a really fascinating experience to learn about that, because you learn many different things, all science related, very important stuff. That's about it for the elementary school. Now we'll get into the plethora of after school activities we have. We'll start with sports. Again, to reiterate, congratulations to powerlifting, as Coach Baba said earlier. Just a reminder that all spring sports are officially undergoing their season. Varsity baseball split their BWAC opener with Algonac, as well as softball, and JV and freshman baseball have gotten a number of games in so far, many victories as well. JV softball got off to a very quick start, winning the Stony Creek tournament with a 4-0 record. Congratulations to them. Varsity tennis as well kicked off with matches against St. Clair on Saturday. Middle school track has also officially started, as well as high school track. I believe we had, it didn't start too long after our last meeting, but it was between the time that we've met, so it is as well. We have crammed in 2 meets. One was kind of unofficial, we didn't get an official times, but it was still very productive and amazing. And then a very fun all relay meet this Friday. That was very fun and great experience for all of our track team members. The past few weeks have been a little tough weather-wise with athletic teams. If anybody has questions, parents and community members, check the athletic website for up-to-date schedules as things do get canceled and moved back and forth. It's important. If you wish to come, you can create an event link account and can subscribe to the calendars for each sport to then receive messages via email when events are canceled and rescheduled. That way you're always kind of up to date for the parents that want to be around, or anybody really. Once again, mock trial came top 4 on the 21st and 22nd of March. And 17 days exactly until the spring musical will be performed at the high school. And debate club sign up has been posted around the high school. It'd be awesome to start something in the middle school as well, but as far as we're aware, it's the student-led is just kind of starting at high school. People are signing up this year. It'll take place next year. Too bad I'll be gone, man. But super exciting to see that. Congratulations to the high school robotics team. They have also been going to many competitions throughout since the last time we've met. Congratulations to them. Everybody who's reported to have a wonderful experience, and they're excited. They have new coaching staff coming in towards the off-season and then the branch on to next year. It'll be great to see how that team grows once more. And kind of going back to the tragic event of Cheyenne's passing, a lot of heavy hearts, prayers to their family and friends. And just on behalf of the students, we would like to thank all of the staff members, especially here at the high school, Ms. Spencer, Mr. Osborne. They have been a huge help in supporting our staff. It's really been a tough moment, and it's awesome, as you had said earlier, to see what this does for a small community and to bring us all together, and the staff have just done a wonderful job, because it can be tough as kids, this type of thing, and to have people there to walk us through it, we couldn't be more grateful.
And I just wanted to reiterate how nice the candlelight was, especially to see our students come together in our community. And I just wanted to thank everybody who put it together, because it was a very beautiful thing for a very beautiful person. So I just wanted to express my gratitude from not just me, but I'm sure behalf of the student body and her family.
And there's a lot of people who went, it was great things. It was just really, really heartwarming to see how many people were there. We give our hearts out to those as well as Cheyenne, but otherwise that's about it on the students. Any questions? No?
Thank you, guys.
The debate, you talked about the middle school, we have an argumentative writing class that started this year.
I have heard of that, yes.
That's hopefully will fun.
Leading in on that?
So.
Okay, I didn't hear whether that was official or not. Is
So
that
she started this year.
This year, yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, then, yeah, there's that too. This would be more of like a similar to the mock trial type thing, where you have people it's more of the performance. And it also teaches people how to properly, have a debate, a conversation. Not a lot of people. It's a very useful skill, especially when you're out, because a lot of people, the loudest one wins. And so it's nice to teach people those actual communicative skills, as well as it's okay to disagree. You respect the other person's opinion and you move on. You don't always have to be right. It's not about winning. It's about, expressing new ideas, but which I'm sure that sounds, the argumentative writing is great to teach them at a younger level, and then hopefully more a realistic level of exercising and practice once you reach the high school level. It would be awesome to see that. But yes, thank you for pointing that out.
Which I'm pretty sure, from what I've seen on the posters, Braylon Jones, I think, took the initiative on it, so shout out to her for.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Yeah, because that's her email on there, I think, so.
Oh, okay. You're another student.
Yeah.
Student
Inspired, yes, I like that, yeah.
That's
yeah.
very good.
Yeah, that is. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Okay, next, superintendent and legislative update.
I do not have a whole lot with the legislature, just kind of watching plans. It's kind of quiet from the budget perspective. The revenue estimating conference is scheduled for like May 15th, which is done on Mackinac Island on a Friday. It's the second Friday in May. So we'll be watching that one. Just a couple things to remind you, there's no school this Friday. It's Good Friday, as well as I think on the board it says a mental health day. Also a good time to just reflect on life and kind of reset yourself. So Monday, there's also no school for students, but it's a professional development day for teachers. Mrs. LaGroy has her Green Club Salmon project. That's, I think it's Wednesday at 6 or 7.
I think it's 6 to 7.
6 to 7. So if you haven't had an opportunity, you can come. It's at the Lee Media Center, and then they'll release their salmon called Metro Beach, but it's not Metro Beach. Metro Park.
It's Metro Beach.
At a later point, which is always a really cool event to do. So,
yeah, exactly.
And finally, I just want to echo what's been said. The tragedy we all face as a school community, it was hard. I mean, on everybody. I can't imagine what the family is going through. But in all your years of education, nobody ever teaches you how to respond or do that. So I am extremely grateful for the team that we have here, from the administrative team and all the support staff that we have who came together and just put what we felt was in the best interest of our students. And we're always looking at how can we make sure that they're helpful. And so thank you. Ms. Zabel, Ms. Borwick, our social worker or counselor at the high school, social workers and counselors at the other building, they all came over. It was truly a team effort. Billy pulled in many days and spent over here just trying to help, just coordinating communication out, trying to stay one step ahead and yet still respecting the family and what they were going through. So we should be very proud of not only our student body but also our staff on how this was handled. That's all I have.
Thank you.
What are the ISD, their legislative meetings tomorrow? It was
Yes, it got moved from last Tuesday to tomorrow. It's the last meeting. It must have went right, I think so you got the email because you're on the committee. Because I did not get an email about it changing, so.
okay. I didn't realize that. I was wondering what it was doing.
Because you're the person, that's why.
I still didn't, I guess. Yeah. So it's tomorrow. I do
It's
plan to go. So.
It is the last one for the year.
And to that point, when I was there last week, the gentleman that I spoke with said he would send out another email, and I have not received that yet, so far as the location and time. He verbally said it, but I haven't received the email that he promised. Yeah, Augie's or something along that line.
Ernest Kingsville on 19.
Yeah, it's that annual one that they do. I think they're combined.
They're legislative, they typically do something at the end like at a restaurant.
Yeah, he said it was off-site.
Okay. Next, items of interest from the board. Danielle.
I'm good.
Sandy.
Sure. I just have one thing. I just want to express my disappointment that there is not going to be a Sunday matinee for our Legally Blonde show. I normally attend those matinees, and I just feel like it's important to have a matinee. I feel like people who can't give up a weekend evening, or they have younger children that can't be awake that late, or it's harder to find a babysitter, or grandparents who rather be out in the afternoon rather than in the evening, and or they can't see at night to drive. And I just, I feel like, I understand that there was, from the way I understand it anyways, is that there was a meeting in December where this was decided, but I just found out about it at the beginning of March, so that's why I'm just now speaking out about it. And I don't know, if the kids were involved in any of that or not, but I do know that though there might not be any policy, we have done it the same for as long as I can remember. And I feel like these kids, I know firsthand how much work they put into this, how much time and effort it takes to put on a performance like this. And I'm hoping that in the future we can bring this back. That's it.
Is it a three-show capacity? To bring it
Yeah.
back as a three?
Yeah,
I
at the
agree.
very
It's a lot
least,
of
they have to
work
bring
for
back on
them
that.
to-
Yeah.
Thanks, right?
So I got an alibi. I want to go back to the raves. So the student cafe was open for a couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to that on the first day, and I got there about 15 minutes before they closed, which was too late. They were already sold out, and yeah, I just heard nothing but positive things from everybody, and especially to be sold out before the end of their posted hours, I think that was a huge win and success for them. So kudos and raves to all the students and everybody involved in that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did go to I did go the next day. I know I was told because I saw Ms. Dable there. She said that they had run out of food when we were there the day before. I luckily did get food, and it was really good. Actually, it was very good. It was very impressed.
It usually is, yeah.
But it was they did a great job. I forgot all about that. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Sarah?
Nothing.
Candace? Really?
I know.
Let's mark that down.
It's just been too much time, right? Just so
Yeah,
much
it
happened.
is
They're
true to
saying
try to-
stuff like, that's right.
Yeah.
The reading, March
Yeah.
is reading month. That's like,
Yeah.
feels like forever ago.
Yeah, because it was, really.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to follow up. however many meetings ago it was, but we had conversation about the district vision statements, and we were supposed to give Deb our vision statements. She's told me that not everybody has done that, so if we could just make sure that everybody gets your vision statement to her so that we can continue the process. And I'm just checking School Board 101. Have you taken it, Ray?
That, I've only taken the one that it was I thought, clearly if the 101 is the one you have to pay for, I haven't taken that one. It was the introduction to the school board.
You went to the ISD.
It was a Zoom meeting, and I would have to get the particulars on what that was, but it was a Zoom meeting, and it was for the new board members' introduction to, and we kind of touched on the legal, your responsibilities, and
I don't know what that is. But
Yeah,
the school board 101 is the class that we all are required to take. Yes. So maybe if Brian or Cynthia can get that worked out, that we can get them to take that class.
Gotcha, okay.
Cynthia? Okay. And then just to make sure, for the ISD budget meeting, who's going? You're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can come.
You signed up for it, okay. And so you're going to be the one that's going to do the presentation, or just give us an overview of what we did?
Yes.
And that's tomorrow's meeting?
No.
Thursday.
No,
Thursday.
the ISD budget, every year the ISD has to do a presentation to all the school districts in the county. And we send one person from the board, and they go, and they basically what we do with our budget. And then we come back, we talk about it, and then we have to vote as a board to approve the ISD's budget. So you're doing that, and you're...
You can also.
Okay, and then my last item of interest, I guess. When we're having email conversations, we're RSVPing, just so we're clear, the legislative, well, now it's done, but whoever the legislative person is, that's the person who RSVPs that you're going. You get that invitation, correct? And then when we do our county school board monthly things, we get them in the mail. We get the invite in the mail, tells us to RSVP and whatnot. But as a board, we let Cynthia know that we're going, and Cynthia RSVPs for the district, so that everybody's on the page of knowing, thinking of, did I RSVP or not? Cynthia does it for us.
But we get an email invite, and we can't just click RSVP that we're going? Is that not efficient?
The county, to the
No.
county one?
No, we get it from usually you.
Paulette?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'm
on
saying,
email?
yes, we get the thing in the mail, right? Everybody gets the invite in the mail. And then we always get something, Brian or Cynthia, however it comes, with the same information. And then we just reply to Cynthia, yes, we're coming. She does the RSVP for the district, so
I
that
understand
they
what you're
know.
saying. I think you're not understanding my question.
So what I did at the beginning of the year is I sent those out.
Yeah.
So everybody got them on their calendar when we got the
Right,
list.
yeah.
When we got new board members, Ray and Sarah, they weren't on the original
I see.
email.
Okay.
So every month, or whenever we'll send out, hey, let Cindy know by this date if you're planning on going. Because some people have said yes, but don't go to the meeting. So if it's just when you get that email from Cindy or I, say it's at Warren Woods, are you
So-
going or not, look at your schedule and you can let her know.
That's perfect, that's fine, that answers my question, thank you.
I was just trying to put it on your calendar so you knew it
Yeah.
was coming down the road.
Great, yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure, so that if I do receive those invite emails that ask me to RSVP,
I ignore them.
I don't need to answer them. I will just answer the one that says, hey, let Cynthia know by call.
Yes.
That was my.
I ignore those, so that it
And
comes.
the idea is 21 districts, there's 21 people responding rather than 140 people responding.
Right,
So they're
gotcha.
getting one rep from each bill. That's the
Okay.
idea.
Okay, fair enough.
And then just the last thing, when Brian sends us out those calendar notices. You accept them if you're coming or decline them. Try to do them as they come in so that they have an idea, you know, for NHS stuff. We just got a slew of them for the, all the awards ceremonies and that. Try to respond to those so that he has an idea, or whoever the teacher or whatever that's having their event, that they look down and they know I've got 3 board members coming or I have 5. So just, that's what Brian is pretty regular with sending those to us. So let's try to
I just try to make sure it's on your calendar so you know it's coming up.
Yeah, no,
Not necessarily that you have to go to it, but at least it's on there.
So with that legislator update that was on Tuesday, and it showed on my calendar that it was on Tuesday in the Outlook. And then, see, I didn't realize I'm the only one getting emails. So, of course, I didn't share that with you to change it to next Tuesday. So it still showed on my calendar as this Tuesday. And then I guess I just, you know, and then, so nobody else can go to those, right? Just the person that is the...
No.
Anyone could.
If you can't go, if the meeting comes and you can't go,
Yeah.
then
somebody else goes.
I would forward it to, to
You should
everybody.
already have a backup person.
Yeah, and aren't I the backup person?
I think you are.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I am. So you initially just reach out to me, hey, I can't go this day, can you go? And if I say, oh, I'm booked, then put it out to see if there's anybody else that can go. It doesn't have to just be you, it can be anybody just to represent us and get whatever information we need to bring back.
So if I get the change date, which hopefully doesn't happen again, I'll forward it to you. I guess I just.
I think this is a one-off because they're usually very good about
Yeah.
letting at least the superintendent or superintendent secretary know, hey, it got changed, so we can let our person know. I just, maybe this one just fell through, or it's the last minute change.
And I think in the beginning of the year, we'll get that whole sheet from them that'll say all the MSBA ones and the lectures. It's all on one form
Correct.
that I have, so.
And Brian puts all of the county board, and he sends those to us at the start of the year. And then you just accept them, and then you can decline them as it gets closer that you can't do it, but, okay, that's it. All right, next is our public comment portion of our meeting, where if anyone from the audience would like to come up and address the board, they can do so. You have 3 minutes to speak. While it is not a question and answer period, if you have a question you want answered, you can leave your name and phone number, and someone will get back to you. Looks like we have someone who wants to speak.
Yeah, I really want to, my curiosity. The sub wages, the company that you're going with can do it for like 97,000 or whatever that number was, but if you do it in-house, it's like almost double that much or 3/4 or more that much. How can that be?
Well, first, I'm going to say, we did already explain it during the thing, but we'll tell you about it after the meeting, okay? Anybody else? Okay. Then move on to our action items. I'm looking for a motion to approve our board policies that were discussed a really long time ago.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and approve the attached board policies as presented on the at the March 10th, 2025 meeting and outlined on the attached documentation.
Support. Is that you, Danielle?
Yeah.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion to go into closed session under Section 8H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
Pursuant to MCL 15.268, Section B.
Are you going to make the motion? Okay. I need to know, is there anyone to second it?
Second.
So,
She hasn't finished the motion.
I didn't read it.
Oh, valid. Go ahead. Go ahead, good point. I'm looking at the clock,
That's
sorry.
No, all
Okay.
right, all right. So pursuant to MCL 15.268, Section 8H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, I move that the Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of considering material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute.
I motion, or I second, support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
I would just say, do we let our student reps go in on this?
Oh, absolutely, that's what's going to
All right, I
happen.
just wanted to make
Yep,
sure.
yep. Okay, this is a roll call vote. Sarah?
Aye.
Candace?
Yes.
Sandy? Aye. Raymond?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carries. We are going into closed session. We will come back out and go back into another closed session, but we will have no further business after that.